What's up, guys? How's it going? I'm going to take the reins tonight. I'm going to try to take the reins. Like I said last week, this is by far my favorite franchise of all time. I love this franchise. I've always loved this franchise. I pay attention to the lore and the background. The expanded universe is so important. I wish they would go to that, but they're not going to. They might start adding little things here and there, but we'll get into that. Final thoughts on episode 1.
Yes.
I'm going to introduce everybody.
Oh my God. So with me tonight, I don't do intros very well, and she needs to stop telling me what to do. I will get into all the introductions. So first off, I'll ask Connor, since he left early, give me your thoughts. Give me your final thoughts on episode 1.
So I was kind of alluding to this when I was on there before I had to hop off early, but the idea of like nostalgia versus comparing it in the grand scheme of things. And this is the exact same stuff we've been talking about on the Marvel Roundtable too. That they're sort of guilty of a little bit now with their current stuff. Looking back on it, I got a lot of nostalgic feels, and there are some great moments in there. Fucking pod racing, fantastic. Even the lightsaber fight with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is actually up there as far as one of my favorites, favorite lightsaber fights of all time. Didn't hate the movie at all. It was very for the most part, by, with the exception, like I just said, of the pod racing and and the lightsaber fight. But man, judging it like not as part of Star Wars, it was a it was a bit of a tough ride if you look at it from like outside, if that makes sense.
No,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to be a tough ride. I enjoyed the ride. Like I said, I enjoyed what they gave me. I think I'm more about the story. I already know what happens. I think I said this, and I'll reiterate this a lot. The story is what made a lot of people Star Wars fans.
I think
not the movie itself. Once the first movie came out in 1977, nobody knew what it was. It was essentially they advertised it as a space opera, right?
Yeah.
So and everybody's like, but it looks like something from the future. I'm gonna check it out, even though it was from a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. It's just one of those things, and it caught people. And then once you started reading. And then George Lucas did Empire Strikes Back, and everybody got invested in the story of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, because that's what the story became, essentially. And that's coming in future in 3 episodes.
Right, and what I was going to say,
3 episodes.
Just in that point / part though, is that also is part of me. It's partly like an unavoidable thing because it's a prequel, and we know we know
what's going to happen.
It's the whole it's the whole thing with like Black Widow. We don't care about the movie because we already know she's dead.
Sort of ish. It's also like, how do you we have to go back and make sure that like all these strings like get tied in the right way and everything gets wrapped up, obviously in episode 3, but like setting the stage to make sure that we get to that point to episode 4 as smooth as possible.
Right. So I do want to reiterate that George Lucas wasn't going to tell the story of Darth Vader. He essentially was going to tell the story of Luke Skywalker, and that was going to be it.
Right.
But Darth Vader became such an iconic character, and everybody wanted it, that fan fiction drives Star Wars. Believe it or not.
Yes, it does.
Fan fiction drives Star Wars. If you pay attention, some Star Wars things they get from the fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think, like, The Mandalorian is essentially a fan fiction idea. And Dave Filoni is that fan fiction. He is that guy. So he'll take little things and add them to what is iconic with Star Wars, while also selling what we can make for revenue on toys and all of that. Because essentially that's what Star Wars was made for, was to make toys. But people got invested into the story. And the story that they told in episode 1 probably could have been 2 parts. So there could have been 2 parts to each story, to be honest with you.
Today, if it was made today, it would have been in 2 parts.
Correct.
One Disney-owned Star Wars, and
I believe that's what they would have done.
I mean, I didn't hate episode 1. Don't get me wrong. I think that the part for like I said, it's tricky for me because it's like, okay, well, like just trying to like traverse the prequel setup. I mean, like I said, one of my favorite lightsaber fights. Pod racing was awesome. Personally, I thought Anakin was annoying. That's just me.
The little boy.
Yeah.
That's just, he was supposed to be. He was supposed to. Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job with him, only for the simple fact that he acted like a little kid.
Yeah,
he didn't act. He didn't act like a
chosen child.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was. Yeah,
maybe he was a robot the entire time.
I just.
Very possible.
I liked what they did with him. I can see why
but
people
still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Tim?
Well, for me, episode 1 did what it had to do. It started another trilogy. That's what I liked about it. And as it's already been alluded to, the pod race and the Duel of Fates, the final lightsaber battle, were probably the 2 best scenes in the movie. I wish they would have done a little more with the expanded races, almost. Highlighted the other races.
They made the pod racing scene and turned it into a game.
I was going to say, if they re-release that game with multiplayer online... we're good. We're good, man. We're good for like a fucking year and a half.
So Star Wars does a really good job of. I think they do a really good job of making rides for Disney.
Yes.
Just came from Disney a few years ago.
I remember the old MGM ride-along thing that they had for the Death Star trench.
Right.
Having been from Disney just recently, the Millennium Falcon ride and Rise of the Resistance, 2 of the best rides in all the parks.
Right.
Now, with that being said, as it was also alluded to earlier, yes, I did own tons of the Star Wars toys.
So did I.
Yep. I had a Millennium Falcon, I had an X-Wing, and I had
that was our
way too many figurines.
So they became, like, Star Wars toys are collectibles. They're like
now they are, yes,
worth money up the wazoo.
Yep, especially in mint condition.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking the old ones, like when the movie came out. They made the Millennium Falcon was made into a toy.
Yep.
Again, Star Wars was created. I think Star Wars was created because George Lucas said, "You know what? I bet we can do Star Trek better."
Yeah, feels like it.
Then they ultimately did. I think
easily. If you look back at some of the old Star Trek stuff, the scenes look very made for TV. Is I think the best phrasing for it.
Star Trek
real quick, by the way, the reason George Lucas wrote Star Wars, and I actually have the reason right here, is that he wanted to film an adaptation of the Flash Gordon serial, but did not obtain the rights, so he began developing his own space opera.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah. Yep, that's essentially what he did. But George Lucas is a forward thinker. He's like, Star Trek, watch this. That's all he did.
Yeah.
I know he did. He may not have been throwing pot shots at Star Trek, but he did. So anyway, so we move on to and then I got Heather here with us, even though she's been looking at her phone.
20 minutes late. 20 minutes.
Well,
later.
20 minutes later, here's my.
This 10
Mother of
out
my
of-
child.
This isn't.
10 out of 10.
No, now you guys are reading too much into why I did what I did. So this is how I'm introducing everybody. So Heather, go ahead and give us your thoughts on episode 1. Your final thoughts. As our daughter comes walking in here.
Because she changed
Hi,
her clothes
Wendy.
again.
Wendy.
Hold on a second.
So anyway, episode 2. Quick, let's do the whole review. Quick,
No,
JP said.
Wendy's trying to ask us a question. I'm just gonna have you just like talk over.
We're good. Yeah, I'm just fucking around.
Yeah, that works for me.
But no, I didn't hate episode 1. I thought episode 1 was actually it was pretty fun. It just that's just my own little like weird part about it. But episode 2, I was just mentioning to JP and Tim before we got on here was Heather was that episode 2 just nostalgically before rewatching the film had a like prejudicial hatred to this movie, and I couldn't remember why, but I think part of it was like, oh, episode 1 came back, and 3 at least you get to see what happens to Vader, and then 2 I just remember like having a visceral hatred for it, and I couldn't remember why. And rewatching it, it's definitely I do not have that same visceral hatred for it. However, I do remember why I hated it so damn much.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So I'm going to get Heather. Sorry about that. Wendy had a question, or she was telling us what she did.
She picked her school clothes out already.
She's a big girl now. So anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
She's gotten to the point where she actually told us that we could throw away her pappy,
which I did last night.
Yeah.
It's in the garbage. So
you ready for so when's baby 2?
Never.
Go ahead. Final thoughts. Episode 1.
Episode 1, I had issues with rewatching it and the remastering of it, messing up the audio, and words not properly syncing with the mouths. It's
nitpicking.
It's
I get
nitpicking,
it.
yes, but you know when it's something that is so noticeable, and it's something through a great company, because this was remastered before Disney.
Well, let me give a little back history on that. Yes, you are right. This is the first movie that he did under his own moniker, though. If I remember correctly, episode 1, like Lucasfilm became a fucking thing. Like Skywalker Ranch, became a thing then. So this is the first time he did his own production. He directed it himself. Like Star Wars doesn't go outside to they did for episode 4, 20th Century Fox ran it. In fact, I think 20th Century Fox helped fund it, but
I believe it was a distribution agreement.
But George Lucas said you will not control what I do. I have my own staff. I have staff on my payroll that you guys already have. I already have.
I think he like with Skywalker Ranch, like he like got like an editing, like he made it like an editing studio.
He did. He made an editing studio. It's essentially a studio, a TV studio like Universal or Fox. Just like that is essentially what he did. And he's made his own movies. So whenever anything's done, he's there. He's watching in the background. So all these people sitting there saying, oh, George Lucas would be upset. Come on. If you think George Lucas isn't fucking in there, they're like, no, you can't be in this meeting. You're not part. I guarantee you he's sitting
all the way to the bank.
He is sitting over somebody's shoulder. So they have a reason for what they're doing. Now, that's just me thinking that. And I can tell you right now, because you can see the little things that they're doing and have done with Ahsoka and, you know, the series. George Lucas is full on in there. You can tell he is. He's not as vocal, but you can see it. He's there.
You know, just a real quick tangent here. You know, definitely going to consider him one of the most self-made American dream, you know, people as far as going from budget reel studio to being bought by Disney for how much was it?
It's a boy in his dream is what Luke Skywalker essentially is. It's a boy in his dream to become something more. And that's essentially what he becomes.
Mm-hmm.
But
anyway.
So we'll get into it. But
Episode 2.
so his father, this is the story of his father, that he was known as Anakin Skywalker. The opening crawl. Now we seen episode 1. He's an 8-year-old boy, and it ends. I don't remember what it is. I think it's like 15 years, 10 years.
10 years.
So
10
he's
years, yeah.
he's 18 now. He's a teenager. At 18, think about this. That's the way this movie.
I could be wrong. I thought he was 9 when he was.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's
he's
9
19.
and
It's
19.
10
So he's
years
19
later. It's 18, 19, whatever. So the opening crawl reveals that the Galactic Republic is in crisis. And of course, yes, there's politics involved, but that's how we get to the point that we get to.
Yeah.
You need it. You need that backstory of the politics going on behind it. So the separatist movement, which is led by the Trade Federation that we've seen in episode 1, but it's actually being manipulated by a Sith Lord. And his
Darth
name,
Sidious.
Darth Sidious. And
Whoa, wait.
What?
I don't think they say it's Darth Sidious.
They don't
in
say
the
it,
crawl.
no.
They do.
They just say they say Sith Lord.
Oh,
The Viceroy Gunray says Darth Sidious.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Viceroy says it later in the movie, but
what
I'm
he's
just talking
saying
in
is
scroll
in
order.
the opening crawl, they don't say
yes.
that.
No, the opening crawl, they don't. Yeah.
Like
So
you said.
it's
Right.
led by a former Jedi Master Count Dooku, who is, and we'll get there, has
Yeah.
threatened peace. So Amidala goes to to Coruscant. She's on her way to Coruscant to vote on a major bill that will start a war.
Yep.
That is in legislation, right?
I
No.
hate this before you keep going. I just want to say this real quick. Am I the only asshole who fucking cackled when the ships land and they're like, "Oh, looks like there's no danger," and then literally a fucking explosion happens right after?
You knew something was going to happen at that point.
Yeah. Amidala actually is voting against the creation of the Galactic
that's
Republic
what I'm
Army.
just saying. There's a vote on a bill to build an army, to start a war.
Yeah. And she doesn't want that
I
army.
know she doesn't. My point is she's just going to vote on this bill as to whether or not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying whether or not she's on board with it. She's against the war. But it ultimately becomes no choice. Because, and we'll get into
Yep.
it. Padme's, the former queen.
Padme's?
No, go ahead.
No, so you said Padme's?
Padme is on her way
okay.
from Naboo to Coruscant. She lands on Coruscant. So they get off of the, like Connor said, and they say nothing happened. Well, then an explosion happens. As a result, Chancellor Palpatine requests that she be put under the protection of a Jedi Knight, hence the manipulation. Again, you know who he is, because they showed it at the end of episode 1. He's going to manipulate. He's manipulating everybody. Now, if you keep listening to Yoda, when he says, clouded the dark side is, Palpatine is so powerful that he can mind fuck Yoda into believing that he can't see. He knows something's happening, but he doesn't know why it's happening. That's how powerful Palpatine is. Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Which it justifies everything that's happened up to this point. He is manipulating everybody by using fucking mind tricks on him. Jedi mind tricks. That's what he's doing. In a Sith way.
Yeah. Force mind tricks. That
So enter the new Skywalker. The new Anakin, who is now 19, shows up with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And yes, Jar Jar Binks is in this movie, but it kind of has to be.
Well, do you know what the inside joke as to the title of this movie was by George Lucas?
No.
What?
Jar Jar's Great Adventure.
They're going to do that.
Guy rose to rank pretty fucking quick, and we could technically say that he's the start of the downfall of the Republic, but we'll get into that.
Well,
yeah, we will.
Well, and right. So he's centric to the story, which is why he's.
Oh yes,
So.
he's a central side character. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Anakin Skywalker ends up. Well, I'll leave it there. Let me get through this. That night, a bounty hunter named Zam Wessel, and I never knew the name, makes another attempt on Padme's life. She's tried it twice now. She is then pursued by Anakin and Obi-Wan, but is killed by a toxic dart from an armored assailant who flies away.
Okay. I am very happy we got to this point because there was an online tangent that I read that about this part of the movie where if you think about it, and obviously a little bit of spoilers, but we know it's Palpatine hiring Dooku, hiring Jango Fett.
Nope.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that is fucking retarded, because that is not even close.
Well,
Palpatine.
The order goes: Palpatine ordered Dooku, and then Dooku hired.
Dooku hired.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Palpatine. Dooku is Palpatine's master now. He's a Sith Lord.
Correct.
Yes.
Right. But my point is that like.
I know where with the
But
delegation
anyway,
of this order.
Yeah, it's literally like Palpatine ordered Dooku, who hired Jango, who hired her, who literally used a robot to kill the bad. Like it's like a series of like holy crap, like sending it down the chain of command.
I
Don't forget to use bugs.
He's manipulating people. He's manipulating people.
Yeah,
He's manipulating people to get his way. Is what Palpatine is doing.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me Darth Sidious, because he hasn't been revealed yet. Darth Sidious. We all know where it's going. I'm trying to do this without being given away if you haven't seen it. So it's kind of getting
almost
away,
20-year-old movie.
But Darth Sidious
That's never seen at least 100,000 times.
Darth Sidious is manipulating fucking everybody in this movie. If that's the story they're going with.
Yep.
Well,
so,
it's in. Oh, sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
So, did you catch the Matrix cameo in this scene?
No. I don't pay attention.
Okay, then I won't go into it.
Hold on. But
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
A couple things I wanted to note about Anakin that I kind of laughed at was, first off, apparently Jedis can just steal cars.
Yes.
They're Jedi.
Yeah, apparently.
They're like police. Well, again, they're peacekeepers, so they can do
Grand Theft Auto. We got it.
They're just like police officers, I guess.
This is kind of at the beginning of the whole like, man, Anakin's really annoying, like right off of the bat. And, again, I know he's supposed to be. I'm just pointing out the obvious. Especially like just challenging Obi-Wan right away, and then like hitting. He's also later on. He's a bit of a creep with Padme, like a major creepoid.
Yes, he's trying. He's trying really hard.
That's a felony in some states.
It is.
I don't like sand.
It is.
Oh my god! I left my ass off at that. Yeah.
It gets everywhere. Yeah, the crack of your ass.
I died at that line. He's like, just like such a beautiful place. I hate sand.
Well, she's talking about Tatooine. They were talking about Tatooine.
No,
I get it.
Yeah.
We'll get there when we get there.
No, you were talking about sand in general, actually, but Tatooine sand specifically, I feel.
The sand like at the beach at the fucking lake I was at 3 weeks ago.
But it's also like the elitism like difference between the two of them, where she's like, "Oh, I miss going out on the lake with all my friends and having this fun. I hate sand because it was everywhere."
Okay, yeah. Well, she's talking about making out with another guy.
No, she's talking about just drying off on the sand.
Yeah. Well,
and he's like, I ate rocks for 5 years.
I want to point this out, and I do want to go back to when Padme sees Annie for the first time in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the best acting she did.
Mm-hmm.
because she actually looks surprised. Like, I haven't seen you in 10 years. You know what, you get what I'm saying?
Big.
That's probably the best acting she did because she looked surprised. Like, oh, they brought this motherfucking guy in to play this guy? But that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
And then the look on his face, kind of creep vibes. Got you.
Well,
Got you.
it's worse later on.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it did first later on. And earlier we were having a conversation where I said that Anakin didn't have a father figure. That isn't. I was wrong in that part.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan was his fucking goddamn master from the time he was...
I mean,
Yes, Obi-Wan was his master. Problem is, he didn't have a father figure to teach him the necessary steps to deal with the emotions of romance, love, and yearning.
You can stop because he's a Jedi.
You can stop.
I realize that.
He's training to be...
You gotta remember, he's different
training,
from other Jedi.
But he is
because
training...
he was brought in at an older age.
He is training to be a Jedi, so he has to learn. This is why, again, because he has an attachment, this is why Yoda didn't want to train him, which is why you're going to have a problem with episode 4, and you're going to have a problem with episode 7. That's the problem I have with both of them. Great movies, but if you're going to bitch about episode 7, you need to bitch about episode 4.
Yeah.
And how Rey becomes so powerful in the Force.
I mean, I just think
I'm just pointing that out. When we get there, I'm gonna refer you to episode 4 because they do the exact same fucking thing in episode 4.
I mean, at this point, I think the Jedi are fucking mostly hypocritical assholes. But go ahead.
They were, but they thought they were doing the right thing. And again,
so did Hitler.
If throughout this whole movie you hear them say that's your point of view, that's their point of view. From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, but they changed their
what do you mean they changed? Okay, stop. What do you mean they changed their mind?
They seem very torn about what to do with Anakin. On one hand, they completely reject, at the beginning, they completely reject him. Then they, we'll train you. You're a Padawan. You're going to be this. You're not a master. They fucking like jerk his chain around so fucking
I'm
often.
going to tell you right now, the only reason why Yoda agreed to it was because he knew Obi-Wan was going to do it no matter what, because he made the promise to Qui-Gon.
And also, Yoda can see into the future. He may have seen a different...
Somewhat into the future.
So he knows that he just somehow gets manipulated.
I was about to say, then why?
Come on!
Time travel.
Go ahead. No, there is no time travel. What are you talking about?
I'm saying is if he can see into the future, that just raises a whole shit ton of why didn't he stop all that? And
it's the Doctor Strange thing. It's the Doctor Strange thing. It's
you will never see Star Wars do anything like that. Stay in the moment. Okay. Don't go outside of. I'm just telling you. I get the frustration, but it's not time travel. They really don't. They don't show you the future, but you can. You know what I mean? They tell you he can see into the future. He's that's how powerful Yoda is. That's how powerful Palpatine is.
We'll get to that. Right. One of my favorite parts of this whole movie is it was with him, obviously. But go ahead.
I just find people trying the time travel thing just. Get that out of your mind.
I mean, the idea of him being able to see into the future. Can he alter things? And it just it's a whole fucking it's a whole can of worms. I'm like, no, fuck it, no.
Yeah, it's not, and I can tell you why. This is why you're probably going to see little things about Yoda. He lets things happen as they do. He gets it. He lets things happen as they should.
Well, I mean, if it's a vague enough,
he's not going to looking into the future because he gets it. If he alters. Then you're opening a whole other can of worms.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
but he doesn't alter. He says he can see into the future. He doesn't. His future stops at Dagobah. He doesn't know where Darth Vader goes from there because he's disconnected from him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, it's about as much as I can understand right now. So
Part of it also is there's no guarantee that the future that Yoda is seeing is the actual future because
it's like Doctor Strange. It's one possibility out of many.
Right.
Also,
again,
Darth Sidious is manipulating.
I'm just saying that I think in terms of like the idea of like just the notion of that or making it canon, depending on how it's described or perceived, could open up so many fucking can of worms. I just said.
I get you, but they're not. Star Wars will not do that. I guarantee you, Star Wars will not do that. Guarantee it. I guarantee.
No, I know they won't. I'm just saying I'm way too stoned. Continue. Episode 2. Woo.
But so I
also
think,
to go back. Sorry, go back. If you notice too, Palpatine sees that Anakin is, or knows Anakin is enamored with Padme, and he's the one who hinted at, let's put Obi-Wan and Anakin on her guard detail.
He can sense everything. That again.
Yeah. No, I'm saying he's manipulating everything there.
He really doesn't even have to manipulate him anymore.
No, he doesn't.
Which is why he disconnects from him. That's the only justification that I can give you. Now,
also,
go ahead.
On a side note, I want to beat Jar Jar Binks with a piece of set furniture.
I don't give a fuck if you want to hit him or not. He's centric to the story. Because if he's not there,
he's going to collapse the Republic.
But it ends. If he's not there, it ends. And then what story are you going to tell?
And no more Jedi.
So that's why Jar Jar is there. Yes, he's an annoying fuck because he's supposed to be. You're supposed to hate him. And
I still want to beat him with that piece of
We'll explain the reason why in a minute. Following the attack on the senator, I already read that, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. No. That one, no. You stopped here.
Following the attack on Senator, Anakin then takes of escorting Padme back to Naboo for her own protection, while Obi-Wan is assigned to find out more about the murder attempt on her that we've seen. Though Padme objects to the request to go into hiding, she accepts at the request of the Supreme Chancellor.
Yep.
With her away, she assigns Jar Jar Binks to represent her place in the Senate. She just gave him full power, full voting power on this bill.
Yep.
Obi-Wan's
Misa gonna collapse the Republic.
Yeah, well, it's coming. Do you want me to stop there or continue?
No, I think I'm good. We can keep going. Not much to really say other than making fun of it. There's really not much to comment on this one, other than hey, another little step towards for Palpatine, like climbing up. Literally, he's like stepping up the ladder.
He's manipulating. Hurry it up, Tim.
Just to go back to, why didn't Obi-Wan recognize that Jango, when we find out who it is, Jango Fett, why did he recognize he was in Mandalorian armor?
You guys read way too much into shit.
Wait, what?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Prior to this, there had been a conflict between the Jedi and the Mandalorian.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Jedi lore. So, wouldn't Obi-Wan, being a Jedi Knight, have known what Mandalorian armor looks like?
Yeah.
And when Jango Fett executed Zam
Wessel. Yeah?
Wessel, wouldn't Obi-Wan have recognized the armor as Mandalorian?
Okay.
So what's the point of, let's track this little dart? It's a Mandalorian.
Okay.
There can't be that many of them left.
Hold on. Again, where are the Mandalorians from?
Mandalore.
Okay. So why not investigate where the dart's from? There might be something more. He knows what the Mandalorian is. Why does he need to chase after the Mandalorian? He needs to find out why she was killed.
I know, it's just a continuity
I'm sure
error.
he did, but he was more concerned with trying to find out who killed Padme.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Well,
he had
Did he
something
say he
to
scanned
do
it in
with
the
it.
archives?
And that's
Yeah.
what he's getting, but that's why he's more worried about the dart. The dart might answer a question. He'll figure out, he'll go to Mandalore if he has to. Even though Mandalore has been destroyed.
Obi-Wan.
Or is getting destroyed here soon.
It's going to be
Yeah.
destroyed, yeah.
So,
No, because Vader was part of that.
but the Mandalorians and the Jedi were on the same side. So that war, they're on the same side. They became friends.
And the Mandalorians have all been turned into bounty hunters at this point.
Yep, true enough.
Pay attention.
But I
pay
just
attention.
go back to
So this
the
is
armor
why,
would have been a giveaway for Mandalorian armor.
This is why you gotta watch Rebels.
True. I should have watched that again.
So that's part of the reason. But then you learn there's whole clans of fucking Mandalorians, and some of them are assholes,
Anyone
and
who's watched
some of them
Mandalorian knows that.
some of them are fucking just like fucking Sabine Wren. We'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
You should be.
I'm never done.
He's really.
Oh, also, Anakin's arrogance was on full display during the speeder chase, too. All of a sudden, I'm like, exit stage right, and I jump off the speeder. This is what you get when you get me talking Star Wars. I will go off on tangent.
Shut the fuck up. Just kidding. It's fine. Anything else, Tim? Is there anything else you would... I'm getting ready to talk, and then you... Hurry it up.
Let me look at my notes. Oh,
Hey,
they
so
foreshadowed Anakin killing Obi-Wan.
That's it? You good?
Sure, why not?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, about Jar Jar Binks real quick for a second.
Okay. We'll get
I'm teasing.
That was Jar Jar's only in like 2 scenes of the movie.
Yeah, no. Just he's gonna kill everybody. He is the true Sith Lord.
Obi-Wan's investigation takes him to a friend named Dexter Jetster. So he goes into that fucking diner looking thing, which I enjoyed. I thought that was a cool scene.
Yeah, it was
Space
fun.
What they did there.
Space Dad.
They called coffee Java juice.
That was cute.
Cigarettes or death sticks?
Cigarettes or death sticks. Oh, I do want to go back to that scene.
The bounty hunter.
The bounty hunter when Obi-Wan is standing there and that guy walks up to him. Would you like some death sticks? He goes, I don't want any death sticks.
You don't want to sell me death
You don't want to sell me death sticks. And he says, I don't want to sell you death sticks. Again, it's showing the power of it shows the little force things that fucking Jedi and Sith can do. That really, you've seen it in episode 4, but they showed it prominently in these, like manipulating. So you can, it's all about manipulation, man.
By the way, air traffic at fucking Coruscant at the beginning of the whole like the speeder chase scene. I hate Anakin. He's so fucking.
That's
reckless.
CGI. That's CGI for you.
Yeah, it is. They did a lot of CGI with this movie.
They did CGI the fuck out of this movie, and that's one problem that I did have. That I did tell Heather that, although visually, it needed to be done. They're trying with that speeder scene. They are trying to give you the effect
that you are flying with them.
That you are flying with them.
I mean, I'm flying right now.
I think that's why they did it.
So how did you fly right now?
What?
What?
What are you talking about?
Tim, the Harry Potter round table was last time. I ain't flying.
So that speeder, that was pretty good. Then the bar. I do like how Anakin, when they got her, Wes Kessel or whatever her fucking name is, Anakin turns around and looks, Jedi business. Go back to your drinks. I love those two. I love that scene for that simple fact. The smartassery with the fucking death sticks. You need to go home and reevaluate your life. I need to go home and reevaluate myself. That was so good.
It was.
Got some buddy cop vibes in that moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, and
You know?
they do that. They do those kind of little homage things. I liked it. I
Yeah.
like that. So Obi-Wan's investigation takes him to a friend named Dexter Jetster, who identifies that killed Zam as a Camino Saber Dart. We already discussed that. Yes, I'm sure that he was aware of who was. It was a Mandalorian. Going to the Jedi Archive to find out more information on Camino, Obi-Wan is surprised when the planet does not show up in his search, bringing this to Master Yoda's attention. It is surmised. Yep. Let me finish here. It is surmised that someone erased the location from the archive memory banks. Again, I liked this part, but if there's anything you want to talk about up to...
This might be me stretching and reaching, and also the amount I'm on right now. But I feel so. It's public knowledge at this point that there's a separatist movement that's being led by Dooku. It's publicly known, right?
It's publicly known that they exist, but they don't know who's leading it.
No, they do.
They
make mention of it. They make mention of it, but that's okay.
And it was mentioned at the beginning with all the council members that it's public knowledge that Dooku at least was a Jedi.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So if there's a plot assassination on... I'm just saying, if there's a assassination on Padme attempt,
okay,
and they're like, "Oh, we trace this back," and then wonder who this
You're confusing.
What?
You're confusing me.
Sorry,
the trace to the dart.
The trace to the dart. What about it?
So my point is that with the chain of command of like. I'm surprised they didn't instantly think it was Dooku at this point.
Oh, he's surprised that they didn't think that Dooku was the one who deleted the records from the Jedi.
So, off of that, they don't know if it's a separatist, because they don't know if Count Dooku is with the separatist movement yet.
That's exactly what I just fucking said.
Right. No, that's why.
Oh,
yes.
I thought in the intro scroll, and
Yes.
when the Jedi Council were talking at the beginning, I thought it was alluded to that he was in cahoots with the separatists.
Okay, he's in
Padme believes he's in cahoots with the separatists
Padme made
also.
a suggestion that it was in him, and Mace Windu said he is a former Jedi. It is not within his character.
They explained it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They explained it when because Padme said something. It's Count Dooku, and Mace goes, he was a former Jedi. He would never do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, well, at this point, they happen to be looking for a planet that can only be arrested by a Jedi when they put two and two together.
But they can't catch Count Dooku. They know they know who it is.
Yeah.
They know who Dooku is. They don't know
if he's behind it or
not.
By the way, funniest Jedi name out of everybody.
So they don't know
Dookie.
if he is a Sith Lord or not.
Right. No, I understand that, but at the very least, it's known that he was a Jedi, so he would have been still able to erase it from the records because Yoda said, only a...
So this is Clone Wars, which
I'm
comes
nitpicking,
right
by the way,
this.
but just...
So that, they really do a pretty good job of once they come face to face, which they do, they kind of tag that story along as they go.
By the way, Count Dooku, funniest fucking Sith or Jedi name in the entire franchise,
That's
in my
not his
opinion,
Sith
bar
name.
none.
That's not his Sith name.
Or whatever. Whatever.
Darth
No,
Tyrannus.
that's not his Sith name.
His Sith name is Darth Tyrannus.
Yeah, it's Darth Tyrannus.
Which
Lord
that's another,
His go ahead.
That's another joke that goes around on the internet. It's fucking... He's got the best fucking Sith name, but yet everybody just walks around still calling him Dooku.
Because that was his name.
That was his moniker.
But whatever. That name, fucking one of the best names in the entire franchise.
Yep.
Blay, I'm Count Dooku. How you doing?
So the scene with the planet, I was confused about it until they explained the gravitational pull of the stars.
Yeah.
That was smart.
Oh, that's smart. He just erased it. So it was pretty good, but I like that scene because he gets the younglings involved.
It's the introduction,
which
of
is
Jedi
an introduction to sarcasm. I mean, it is, but it's showing you.
It is, but you fucking Master Yoda sitting there going, "Younglings, Obi-Wan has seemed to have lost the planet."
Well, of course, you have that, but that's how.
I'll be fucking laughing next movie.
But it right, you little fucker, you laughed at me. Anyway, I enjoyed that scene because it showed a Jedi master
is not infallible.
Younglings, which we don't get ever in a Star Wars movie, which is another good thing. The story of the Jedi and the Sith is so fucking good.
It is really.
Thinking of the next movie.
What about it?
Oh,
just everything with the younglings.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happened. That shows you what kind of
We'll get there.
Darth Vader was. That guy.
Yep.
I enjoyed that scene because the one of the younglings said someone erased it, and and Master Yoda goes, the mind of a young one. It's just so simple. And then I'm like, God damn. So they explained it, how the gravitational pull of the stars means that that's a planet. So it had to be now he's investigating two things. Who is the fucking Jedi that erased that data? So that's where he goes. He gets on his Jedi fighter starship.
Yep. Jedi Starfighter.
And heads to Kamino.
Yep.
And Obi-Wan goes to a presumed location and does find the planet, where he discovers that a secret clone army is being developed for the Republic. Kaminoan Prime Minister. Hold on, I got it. The Kaminoan Prime Minister tells him that his army was ordered some 10 years ago by a Jedi Master named Sifo Dyas. Now, whom the Jedi Council believes to have been killed around the same time. A bounty hunter named Jango Fett had been hired to be the template for the clones. Obi-Wan meets Jango on Kamino and believes that he is the killer he has been tracking. So he's looking for the Mandalorian, but he couldn't find him. So again, after unsuccessfully trying to capture Jango, which was a pretty good scene, if I might say so myself,
I liked it.
Obi-Wan places a tracking device on the ship and follows him to the planet Geonosis. Thoughts? Heather?
Honestly, when they started talking about, a Jedi made this order for the Republic and it will be ready, but if you're going to need more, we're going to need more time. And then, as the meme goes, visible confusion on Obi-Wan's face. It was pretty good.
Visible confusion was then played off into...
Oh.
That's what I'm here for.
General confusion.
No, he was. I mean, yes, he was confused because they didn't know an army was being built.
Yeah, right, and so this is the and this is my only little nitpick.
Why though?
Nitpicking about this part, and I might be missing something. I probably am, and I'm thinking obviously ahead in a little bit on this one. So it's implied that this clone army was being developed for about 10 years or somewhere around that ballpark, with a Jedi Council member ordering that this be created for the Republic. Obi-Wan's like, hey, to Mace Windu and Yoda, yo, did you guys order this shit? Nope, no one would have. So I'm assuming that Sidious made this?
It's implied that he manipulated.
Stop.
Stop.
That is not what happened.
Okay. So who ordered the army in real
Sifo
life?
Dyas did.
Okay.
Sifo Dyas actually.
Went
So
forewent the council approval and ordered it.
he quit being a Jedi and
Yep.
said the Republic is going to need an army. So there is an episode in Clone Wars that explains it.
Okay. That's the only little weird caveat. Is like, okay, I
So
understand that. Like,
this
big
is why
reveal,
they
but-
created Clone Wars, the cartoon, because
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Well, what the fuck? Who's Sifo Dyas and what? Why the fuck did they actually explain it in an episode?"
Yeah, I
And then they
assume.
created one of the most beloved characters in the Star Wars universe in Ahsoka.
However, you'll see, you'll find out who kills him and why. Well, you know why.
Yeah.
So
Who?
if I remember right, if I remember the episode correctly, I think it's Asajj Ventress. Count Dooku sends his apprentice to assassinate Sifo Dyas, which he does. So it's Count
Oh,
Dooku.
okay.
Count Dooku.
Yeah.
So we'll get to it because this is what makes episode 3 so good. In that scene.
Well, that's the part that. Yeah. Okay. We already just went. I'm beating a dead horse here. Never mind.
So it's your remember again, Sidious is manipulating everybody.
Right, which is why when I thought that like, oh, it was a Jedi that was dead, that it was Sidious either under disguise or like under a veil or so. Okay, that was my like assumption.
Essentially what it is he put the order in for
So-
the clones and then was assassinated.
So Sifo Dyas
Tangent time.
and
Woo.
so Sifo Dyas and Count Dooku. And I'm going to recap that episode for you, just for backstory, so that you can get the full grasp. They both
By the way,
left,
I also
they
changed
both
the,
left the
chat name.
Jedi. They both left the Jedi Order, right? They created the, and I think this is the way that episode goes. They created the, and it's canon. They paid the Kaminoans to create this army for the Republic. Count Dooku.
Yeah, well,
Count Dooku kills Sifo Dyas.
Oh, okay, because that's the. Like
So
I said, that was just, I thought my implication.
Palpatine, who did manipulate everything, but it was Dooku who he just bought in. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm second in
Okay.
charge."
I'm under the impression that at this point, like, you know, obviously, it's the spoil of, oh, it was Sidious the whole time and Palpatine,
It was.
you know, pulling the strings on. I'm assuming he's pulling the strings on pretty much everything.
He is.
Right. So I assumed that the army that was made for the Republic was also a direct thing of his.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
They go into it in Clone Wars. They really do. Like,
Okay,
they explain, like, the banking clan. Yeah, there's like, I mean, it's like in episode 4 or something. It's like a string of episodes, and they tell you the story of why the clones were
Right.
created.
As long as there's an
That's what makes
explanation,
Clone
okay,
Wars
yeah.
so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you know ultimately what the clones become, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stormtroopers.
Yes.
Yes. But then
Now-
we'll get into that too, because they were fucking spot on. It tells you everything you need to know about the modern day stormtrooper, right? I mean, get right. Is there anything you want to anything else you want to add?
No, I was just saying, aside from that little tiny little nitpick of like confusion on my part, I actually really like the whole Minocious or whatever what the fucking name.
I did
place
like
was.
they were in between scenes, but they don't,
Yeah.
know, because meanwhile, Anakin and Padme spend time together on Naboo, and Anakin
Yeah.
reveals his love for her. Padme
Wait.
resists. Padme resists, explaining that it would be impossible for the two of them to be together. She is a respected senator, and the Jedi Code forbids marriage or any other form of attachment. Anakin is soon troubled by dreams in which his mother, Shmi, is in
No,
danger and dying. He
It's not-
asks
it's
Padme
not-
to accompany him to Tatooine. Upon arriving, Anakin learns that his mother was sold by his former master to a moisture farmer who lives outside of Mos Eisley. Anakin and Padme arrive at Lars's farm, where he meets his stepbrother Owen and his fiancée Beru, as well as his stepfather Clegg Lars, because he has no legs. He's missing one leg, right? Clegg Lars.
Yep.
Who married Shmi. Anakin learns that his mother had been kidnapped 1 month earlier by local Tusken Raiders. The introduction, well, they were introduced in episode 1, but...
Yeah, they were...
Anakin tracks her to the Tusken camp, where he finds her in poor condition, and within moments she dies in his arms. In a fit of rage, he slaughters the entire Tusken community. Anakin brings his mother's body back to her home, where a funeral is held, and it's just them burying her, essentially. That's a whole lot to... This is really where it begins. So again, remember, why is he having these dreams? Palpatine is letting him see what actually happens.
Yep.
So,
And it's...
Go ahead.
It's the first concrete example of how he is starting to go become Vader when he slaughters the entire Tusken clan.
Well, he doesn't kill all of them. He kills a colony of them. He doesn't kill all of them.
He killed all the males, the women, the children, all of them. He killed them all because he hated them all.
He didn't kill all of them, though. He did not kill all of them. He didn't kill all of the Tusken Raiders. He killed a clan.
just he said all.
No, I'm talking just that one.
I know what he did, but that he goes back and he says, "I killed them. I killed them all. The mother, they're the women, the children, their dogs. I killed them all." And
it's also him.
But he's starting
like he's above everyone else too.
Huh? Say it again.
He made some comment that he's going to become more powerful than everyone else at the end of this, it shows that he feels that he's better than everyone else. Well, his arrogance is on full display with that comment.
Well, his arrogance is in full display when the speeder chase. It's in full display every time he's
on screen, basically.
Yes. He shows arrogance, and I liked it. I liked what he did. It made you want to fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Because you know what he then becomes.
And it's a great character trait that is displayed in this movie.
But because he's arrogant. But you can be arrogant. Yeah. You can be arrogant. Obi-Wan is arrogant. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But Anakin doesn't kill all of them. Because I do know that there is a side story to that, and that's an expanded universe thing, where a Tusken Raider, who essentially becomes a very powerful Sith that fights Luke Skywalker. And Darth Khan, I think.
He was saying that he killed all of them in that camp.
I know what he did. Yes. All I heard, he killed them all. I'm like, what? No, he didn't kill all of them. But there's a clan. There's still a clan because one of them was a Jedi, and I can't remember. But he ends up becoming a Sith Lord.
Yeah, I can't remember
I can't remember his name. I'll look it up and I'll let you know. But that's a side story with the Tusken Raiders. They hated Anakin Skywalker for what he did,
and they passed that hate on to his descendants, Luke Skywalker.
But Luke Skywalker didn't know who he was. So anyway, and the Tusken Raiders are pretty fucking...
primitive.
They're pretty fucking primitive. Like, they're shooting at people during a pod race. They're assholes.
True enough. Yeah.
So she dies, which is on top of it. He can't handle loss. They're showing him downward spiraling. Because he does also mention, he goes, I shouldn't be this way. I shouldn't feel this way. I'm a better Jedi than this. He does this throughout up until he turns into Darth Vader. Now, this is him. This is what he does. He's always questioning things.
Also, at this point, they've already alluded to Anakin spending a lot of time with Palpatine.
Right. So Anakin... They get into it. I think in one of the scenes where he was a mentor, he's a friend. I don't know if he did that in this one. I could have swore that he did, but I think
no, he did it in regard.
I know
with
in the
Obi-Wan.
third one. I know in the third one he does it, but he says it to Padme. He's a mentor. He's my friend. So they're talking about Chancellor Palpatine now. So they're talking. They're talking. It's him and Padme are talking, and he goes, "He's been a mentor. He's been a friend."
Yeah, it's in the next one.
It's in this one. It's like
it's in this one as well. But that conversation, JP, is actually with Obi-Wan before they separate.
I know he says
ways.
it. I know he says it in this movie, which explains everything. Again,
yeah, I remember the scene myself too.
He's manipulating people
at the spaceport right before Obi-Wan wants to do his stuff.
We'll get to episode 3. Relax. You're jumping all over the place.
This is all episode 2.
Yeah, we're not.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We're jumping there.
What's up, Basement?
Oh, Basement's here.
What's up, babies?
How's it going?
Feeling good.
All right. So, do you know where we're at? Do you got anything
I have
you
no
want?
fucking clue.
Okay, so we're in episode 2. We're up to the point where
the credits.
No. All right.
Opening scroll.
We're not at the
We
credits.
just finished talking backstory.
No, just stop. We're up to the point where
The Death Star blew up.
Obi-Wan is following.
Yes.
Obi-Wan is following Jango Fett to Naboo.
Yeah, like
We just finished talking about
the halfway point. We just finished like the whole Anakin, Padme. It's not Shmi, it's Shmu.
Slaughtered them all.
Shmi. Jesus fuck.
It's not Shmi, it's Shmu.
No, it's not. Anyway.
It's Shimmy.
I love how she was like just alive long enough. I love you, Anakin.
But she didn't even say that. She didn't even say,
I am complete.
she didn't even say that. She didn't even get a chance to say it.
No, she said I am complete. I'm not. I shit you not. It was a weird line.
She said I remember that. Complete. Now that you're, I think she had everything to do with it. She was a spiteful bitch. Anyway.
What the fuck?
They do not portray her character.
Hold on.
What?
Are you like bitch deserved it? Like what?
Spiteful bitch.
She's not because she let her son go, but because I think
her son get caught.
I think she was honestly part of the game. She let them put Anakin in her. So they what do you call that? Inseminated her?
They let them put Anakin.
You gotta remember, he didn't have a father. So they did the whole fucking, she carried him to term, she gave birth. She's the bad guy too.
The Force came inside her.
Sure.
The Force finished her.
I don't know. The story of Darth Vader is a confusing one at times.
It's a comedic one?
Confusing one.
How is it I don't understand how it is so confusing.
It really isn't that confusing. I just confuse people in general.
How is it confusing? Please enlighten me. I think it's pretty straightforward.
But it's weird because the origins of him is supposed to be like everything is aligned for him to be a hero, and he ends up being a villain. So,
well, it's because of the mental anguish and torturing, essentially.
I know why it happened.
It's psychological warfare.
I 70% blame the Jedi Council.
Whatever. You can blame the Jedi Council. You can blame whoever. But
I blame psychological warfare.
I also blame them for not fucking understanding the fact that when they say bring balance to the Force, and then they initiated, oh hey, there's a fucking huge amount of Jedi in comparison to what a minimal amount of Sith.
Okay, so stop. Again, if you listen to what I said, they have the rule of 2. They have no more, no less.
I took one of those earlier today.
I quit. I'm done trying to fucking explain it.
No, I understand it. It's just
the Sith. There isn't that many of them. There just isn't.
Right. Correct. I understand that. What I'm saying is that what balance to the Force? If there's a huge amount of Jedi,
it's not the balance. You're talking numbers here.
It's not the
I don't
Jedi
think it's Jedi
itself.
versus Sith.
It's good versus evil.
Yeah.
The light
Right.
and the dark. The light and the dark.
The dark is very
Most people
powerful,
are
and
aligning
therefore
with the
they
dark.
only need two.
If you go and read some of the lore on the fucking dark side, it's some pretty powerful shit. It's past Harry Potter level.
Yeah.
It's past Lord
Forces.
Voldemort. It's beyond Lord Voldemort level.
Yeah.
I guess
The way that it's portrayed in
Especially
the
the
movies,
ancient
though,
stuff.
it's really portrayed Jedis and Sith as the embodiment of good and evil, as the embodiment of
Right.
the Force and the dark. So, like, it's not really explained to be like everyone is light and dark.
Right. Well, right, and I think it's more just the phrase "balance to the Force." What the fuck does that
With
specifically
the way that
mean?
they're portraying the Force in the movies, because they don't really go too in depth, it really makes you think of Jedi versus Sith. And there's no Sith, so it's like that ain't balanced.
Oh man, let's balance this thing. You guys are fucking creaming.
Whatever we find, when we eradicate them. To bring
So-
balance back to life.
His story is pretty straightforward. I don't know
I know it's there.
the reason the reason that they did this movie.
Yeah, it's
They had
because
to.
the actual like writing material is so much smarter than what they put to screen.
Yes.
So,
The
I'll give you that. Yeah.
They do a good job of telling the story, but if the acting, I think that the story is there. But you kind of do have to read things in order to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Reading
That's why
audiobooks.
they needed more time to, I guess. In today's day and age, it would be a fucking epic TV show if it was to come out.
Well, but they do. I think they do a fine job of explaining.
Yeah.
I think they do. All you need to know is the dark side is very, very, very strong, and yes, it takes more Jedi. But the light, Yoda and Palpatine fight, right?
Hmm.
Yes, we do it.
Neither one had an edge over the other.
Neither one had a clear advantage over the other. Yes.
Yoda and Dookie.
Yes, Yoda
No.
and Dookie.
No,
We'll get to that later.
No.
I get why.
I'm talking
Count
in the
Dooku
grand
did there.
scheme of things. If you're talking light and dark side, look at Yoda
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
fucking.
what you're talking about, Yoda and Palpatine. Okay,
Yes,
'cause
yeah.
I'm like, they didn't fight this movie.
No, they didn't.
No.
But we're getting there. But you guys keep on fucking taking me to the
Now-
fucking left here.
To go back to one other thing,
Oh, fuck me.
something that they. Yes, I know. I drive you nuts.
Who invited Tim?
Something
I'm
that
kidding.
they
I'm kidding.
Really allude to was the issues that force sensitive individuals have with clones, especially ones that are accelerated growth rates, which are which are the clones
No shit.
in the clone army.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you about that though. That's all. Just
What the
They
fuck
did
are
say
you
that.
talking about?
They did say that they're on like an accelerated.
I
some of
know
them
they're
are
on. What
accelerated
the
growth
fuck does that
programs,
have to
whatever.
do with the Jedi?
absolutely nothing. I just wanted to drive you nuts again.
What the fuck is fucking going on, man? Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm with the Lord.
Did anybody else think it was like really weird when he came back from fucking murdering every one of the kids and she just has no expression on her face like throughout 90% of this movie?
I love you.
I love you.
you.
Who has no expression?
Natalie
Padme?
Portman? Yeah.
Or- What do you want her to
I
do?
killed them, the mother and the children. And she's like, just staring at him. It's like,
Well,
Do you
would
want to?
if-
Are you thirsty? You want to? Some
I don't
Sunny
know,
D?
man. I don't know. I think you're just reading too much into it. I really do.
She's starting to fall for him there too, though.
yeah, it's that part of this movie.
Oh.
is-
It has
So-
to happen, though. It has to happen.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
it has to happen. That part of the story has to happen. Because if it doesn't, then you don't have why he goes to the dark side.
Well, what I was gonna say
could happen better.
What I was gonna say was,
Well, what do you want him to do? Actually bend her over a fucking rock and ram her in the ass? What?
Actually have like better writing and better acting.
hold on.
I like I said, I didn't care about the acting.
It's like one of the
I care
worst
about
on
the
screen
story.
fucking
Listen.
chemistries ever.
Anal writings aside, the swooning of Anakin with Padme, I didn't mind it, but I just felt like it was in a weird order
It
because
was creepy too, man.
I was about to say at the beginning, like the whole hair, like the very beginning stuff was a little creepier. But there's like wholesome scenes they have like halfway through. I'm like, if you did those first and did like a little bit of like a better build up and a little bit, it was just that beginning part with him specifically like stroking her back was just that was a little on the creepy
He's
side.
trying to see how far he can go.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing, but it's just like
Also,
super creepy.
part of it.
Hold on, Tim. Go ahead, basement.
That's super
Okay,
creepy at the beginning. When he's like, he comes in, he looks at her like side eyes, like looks like a fucking creep.
I'm just thinking that like
Yeah,
they all
I'm
like
not gonna sit here and say that he doesn't look like a fucking creep doing it. I get all of that, but the story is there, and it has to happen. Is it shitty acting? Is it? If that was really bad, but they put them in that fucking position. It was awkward.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
think them two honestly
writing
had.
is the culprit.
If you want me to get brass tacks honest with you, I don't think they had good chemistry.
I don't think they had good chemistry, but I also think they were like really limited by the screenplay. Like I don't think they were able to do much. They all felt like, at least these two specifically, felt like they were just blocks reading lines.
At this point, yes.
And their scenes together.
I get that, but they're trying to tell this story, and they couldn't figure out. I mean, who else were they going to get to do the story? You can't really get rid of Padme because she's there. And George Lucas is
I think
pretty
it's just a quality of like the writing for the conversations characters have. Nothing feels real, and the way they speak is weird.
That was the most romantic day ever. How did you sleep? I gotta go see my mom.
Also, to go back to Basement's point, you got to remember something else too. Anakin hasn't been in any sort of romantic relationship prior to this. He doesn't know how to act.
He's not supposed to.
I know that. I'm defending the acting on this point.
Yes, he is not supposed to know what it's like. He's never. He's
I'm
not
defending how he's acting.
I know that.
He's acting like a creep because he doesn't know better.
I'm trying to drive that point. He's not. Obi-Wan's not going to teach him that at all. A father figure.
Exactly. Yeah.
A father figure isn't now. My father didn't say, "Hey, son." My father didn't come up to me and goes, "Hey, son, we're going to teach you how to do it now." What the fuck does that mean? I mean, come on.
Lay down like a twister mat and have like instructions on how to move it.
I'm just saying. You guys are reading too much into what's going on. Just know that he can't have interaction with their.
By the way, fucking idiot. He's like the head of security riding whatever fucking animal that was.
He can't have attachment.
Belows or some shit.
Yeah, he can't have attachment.
Like space cow ticks.
That scene with them two out in that fucking meadow. I did want to fight. I was hoping that he broke a couple of legs.
Well, I was just saying that like first off, he's the head of security, right? Or supposed head of her security, and he's fucking surfing that shit, that weird fucking cow tick thing.
He clearly does not have the ability to communicate with animals.
He clearly does not have the ability.
Dumbass.
He actually does have that ability.
I thought he. Okay.
Actually has he does have that ability. He can manipulate animals because he does it.
He does it later on. You are right. Yes.
Aren't people animals too?
Yes. Again, everybody's getting manipulated in this fucking movie. But
it's a movie of manipulation.
It is. I guess the thing about the main relationship with the two fucking Darth Vader and Padme.
Yes.
It just feels like every time we go to them, it's like, this is where you are in the relationship, and this is how you're acting. And there's like we're gonna skip ahead to the next scene, and this is where you are in the relationship. And this is how you're acting.
Again,
there's no like continual growth of it. It's just
I get
snapshot.
you. I get you. I understand. That's why they did a better job of it in Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I remember that actually.
So they did,
but at the same time, they had more room for it too in Clone Wars.
But again, this is just an introduction of that. This is an introduction to that. This is why they are doing these in between live action shit, and I pretty much guarantee you they need to do more of those, because with the Clone Wars, it actually gets really deep into it. Like you can see the manipulation of Anakin in the cartoons. You can tell where he's going, but he's an arrogant asshole throughout this movie because he has to be.
He was pod racing at fucking 5 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be arrogant too. Hey, motherfucker, I want a pod race at fucking 9, motherfucker. Try me. But he
and I
the relationship, and I do understand on screen that it portrays it's not, the chemistry isn't there, and I don't, because of the acting, they're being told you do this. CGI had a lot to do with it. They didn't make them the central characters to this movie, and they should have been. Although Obi-Wan, the story with Obi-Wan needs to happen because you need to be introduced to the clones.
Yep.
I actually enjoy the pacing of this movie a lot more than the first one.
Agreed.
It just feels like things move better, and you get a bit more. Like there's three different plots or whatever going on at once, and they all get enough screen time.
But they all tie into one thing.
Yeah, which I mean, the way this movie is structured is, I might be much better than the first. You're right though, 100%. The CGI, that is, I'm like, man, if the CGI was actually really, if there wasn't as much of it, or they just fixed visually all the things wrong with this movie could be pretty damn good.
Right.
The CGI really hurts it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on Geonosis, Obi-Wan learns that Count Dooku and Trade Federation Viceroy Newt Gunray have built a new droid army, and that Gunray has ordered the assassination of Padme. So there's your reveal as to who ordered the assassination.
Dookie.
No.
It was Newt Gunray.
Newt Gunray was Dooku. Dooku did not have Padme killed.
Mm-hmm.
I did not.
Just before being captured, Obi-Wan relays this information to Anakin so that he can relay it to the Jedi Council on Coruscant. Once the Jedi learn of Dooku's army, Jedi Master Mace Windu leads the team to Geonosis. Meanwhile, Jar Jar Binks calls for Chancellor Palpatine to be given emergency powers with which he can call the recently discovered clone army into battle. There's your
answer. And Adolf Hitler is born.
But it wasn't. Jar Jar Binks was manipulated into voting. He had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he was
manipulated because he's a fucking idiot.
Yep.
And
there are parallels.
This is why they tried to assassinate Padme so that she could not vote.
No, on the army.
They wanted to kill her off because she was the deciding vote. She was not going to flip. And her and Bail Organa were like two of them that were trying to build a coalition to stop it.
Yep.
But it failed because they had to take, and again, genius on fucking so many levels by Chancellor Palpatine to do that. Again, he's manipulating people. You can see it, and that's essentially where he's going now. He's doing this in phases.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fucking evil genius, man.
He's
one of the greatest bad guys. I think he's one of the most underrated bad guys in
cinema
movie history because of how manipulative he was. Thoughts?
Well, I brought it back. As I said, there, and they even alluded to this. There are parallels to be drawn to the rise of Adolf Hitler to the rise of Palpatine.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so they're telling that story, yes, but
I'm saying there's similarities to draw from it. I'm not saying it's the same.
I don't think that's why he created the movie, though. I do.
No.
I've heard that fucking talk. Oh, he created that movie just to show what it's like.
As
to
a
be
political
Nazi.
statement,
Shut the fuck
if
up.
you bring politics into Star Wars, I will.
I'm not bringing politics.
I will
into
send
Star
Jar Jar Binks
What?
after you.
I'm not. But there's politics.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying other people.
Well, there's a reason why, and it is a political move. It is. It honestly is.
It's
It's
a political
the
move.
same kind of shit we actually see.
Yep.
So Chancellor Palpatine now has full control of the Republic and the Senate,
Jar Jar
and he
Binks.
can make all of the decisions as to creating an army. So now there's going to be a war, and this is where the
Yep.
Clone Wars come in, and hence the title of the movie, Attack of the Clones. Basement.
I'm here.
Your
What do you
thoughts?
think? What do you think?
I was gonna say with the clones, at least when I first watched this movie, I didn't care for the clones or anything like that. But now, like looking at it again, like it's a pretty cool fucking idea.
Yeah.
It is,
And I guess knowing more where they go with it, with the extended stuff, with Clone Wars and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at first I was like, man, oh, we got another fucking droid army. This is kind of how I felt when I first watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's a lot better than that.
Yes, I like it. It explains a lot. Do you see the similarities? Essentially, you know what they become. But anyway, so Anakin.
Who feels that?
Hold on. Anakin, and Padme. Well, Padme goes, I'm going to go rescue Anakin. But he was specifically told to keep an eye on, keep doing his mission, right? Watch,
Keep an eye on Padme.
right? Well, Padme goes, I actually did like this, but I'm like, did they not tell him to stay where he was? I don't think they did.
The exact
They
wording-
told him to stay where he
Yes.
was, but they didn't tell Padme where to stay. So she says, they didn't say anything about me. I'm going. If you want to come, hop aboard. So now she's essentially trying to rescue a friend.
Shows her political acumen in that scene, too, of, well, there's this way to get out of it, which is still technically following the rule.
We'll get there. We ain't that far yet.
No, that's exactly.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. That was in this scene.
In this scene where she makes the executive order for them to go.
Yeah.
She tells him
She
to
manipulated
leave.
it where
Yes,
If you
that's
wanna-
what
I
he's
can
saying.
go and you have to
That's
come
not
with me.
political acumen. She's like, fuck you. I'm going to get on this fucking ship and fly. If you don't want to come, fuck you. I'm good. I'll do this myself.
I would say political action.
But it allows him to go and rescue Obi-Wan while still
Maintaining
following
his mission.
the orders that he was given.
Well, he really didn't follow orders. He did. They said
No,
stay
he
put.
never does because he's arrogant.
They did stay put. Well, he wasn't not going to fucking rescue Obi-Wan. Got it. I get it.
Yeah.
So they join Obi-Wan. They get captured, which I thought was a pretty good scene. C-3PO is pretty good in this.
Yep.
Oh, I did not like this
You didn't
scene
like-
at all.
Why?
The like machine workshop or whatever.
Yeah, the droid creation. The droid.
Oh, I love that scene.
Oh, I don't, man.
Why?
It's really campy, and it leads just into another action scene. It's like too much all at once.
I mean, they had to get there.
Yeah.
No, but it's still like he's fucking. It was like 40 minutes of almost the same stuff all crunched in together. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I didn't like the scene. It was very like. Or whatever that fucking song is.
I like it.
It's like Scooby Doo esque. It's a bit too cheesy for me.
Ooby dookie doo.
Connor?
Dookie Dookie Doo.
I like what R2D2 was pretty boisterous though. I will say that was pretty funny.
He tried to kill C-3PO.
Well, because he wanted. Look, he was like, "Motherfucker, get the fuck out of my way, or fucking go."
He pushed him to most likely his death.
Also, how is it that R2 was able to fly in these movies, but not in any of the other movies?
He can fly. He flew in another one. He flew in episode 1.
He flew in the. Didn't he fly in the new ones as well?
He flies in. He flies.
Yeah, but he lost that ability in episodes 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Who cares?
They took off his fucking boosters.
Who cares?
I don't know. Who gives a shit? I guess. But fuck him. He did try to kill C-3PO, and then he fucking flew in the air. What kind of bullshit is that?
I thought it was funny. It was like C-3PO was like, well, it's R2. It's R2D2 saying, "Shut the fuck up and just go." You talk
after a while.
Throw a set of metal balls.
But they walk down like a pathway and through a door, and the hallway they're on just retracts.
Yeah.
It makes them fall. I'm like, okay, this is a setup. And then the whole factory made knows.
It's a trap.
What do you think?
That fish guy.
What do you think, Connor?
First, I think I'm way too fucking high right now. Second, I think the only so we're at the point where they've been captured, right?
No, not yet.
They're on the conveyor belt.
They're on the conveyor. They're about to get captured.
Okay, so I didn't mind that conveyor belt scene. That was I wasn't really like popping for it, but I was kind of in the middle. Like I wasn't like overly excited about it. Rewinding a little bit back to when Obi-Wan got captured, chasing Jango. Those seismic charger things are fucking amazing. I love. I
like the sound it made.
Oh my god, the sound's so great.
The sound effects are pretty good in this movie.
Yeah,
oh my
sound
god,
effects
yes.
are very good in this movie.
Sound is always great in Star Wars movies.
Yes. The sound. I actually was thinking about doing something along the lines of what would you give it for sound effects? I'd give it a 5 for sound effects. They're always really
For
good.
sound in general, I'd give Star Wars almost like whatever the top rating is.
Sound and music,
music's a 5 for me. Love the fucking music. Yep. The acting is probably a 2.5. The CGI just sometimes is a little too much, and this scene is again CGI.
Speaking of too much,
I think that's what is hurting me the most.
Speaking of too much, Basement's icons fucking freak me out. So I'm gonna get a drink. I'll be right back.
I think the CGI was a little much. I get that. It's still
okay. I think that's why this scene annoyed me the most because it was all CGI. Any of the scenes that's all CGI, I was like, oh god.
They leaned heavily on CGI in this movie. Yes.
Did.
What was I gonna say?
Go ahead, Heather. Your thoughts on this scene?
I didn't mind it. It gave me a little chuckle when it led up to the fucking one-liner with Anakin at the end there. Not again. Obi-Wan's gonna kill me.
Oh, with the lightsaber?
Yeah.
So there is a story behind that. Like, and I loved reading up on the lore of Star Wars. I don't read the books or anything, but I read up on the lore and I watch videos and shit. There's a story that that was an inside joke, is he kept losing his lightsaber, or got it destroyed, so you'd have to create a new one. And the scene back early when Obi-Wan hands him his lightsaber and says, "This is your life." I do like that scene where he goes, "How do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me?" That was a good fucking line, because it's true. He kills him. So
yep. For the uninitiated, it is excellent foreshadowing.
I don't know.
I think you want this to talk amongst ourselves.
The only thing I could relate that scene to is if you've seen the movie The Hobbit and they do that fucking like train ride scene. Or the go-kart, or whatever the fuck it is, a minecart scene. That is what reminded me of. Too much CGI and too
Yeah, as we said, they leaned with this movie. They leaned far too CGI aspect of it.
And honestly, it's not just we have certain things we want to capture and we need CGI to use it. It's we would rather use CGI than any fucking real props, real sets, real anything. The whole fucking clone army is CGI.
Well, and yes.
Well, with this movie, go.
I was gonna say, and that is one thing. The CGI with the clones, I didn't mind because you got to imagine they do a lot of. But I mean, I can understand they didn't do it all the time. Certain.
I don't think there was a clone like when their helmets are on when they're at the last act of the movie. I think those are all.
So
CGI.
The scene where Padme falls off the fucking thing.
Yeah, I think that's CGI as well.
No, it's not. That is live action.
No.
That is her and Tamora Morrison acting. That is not
clone?
CGI. Yes.
I don't know, man.
What part?
Nope, that is her and Tamora Morrison acting. That was a live action scene.
Which scene?
It is shot. It is shot from pretty far away, so.
We'll get to that later.
No, we're there now.
Not really, but.
Or now.
Well, they do. Oh, well, we're getting there. But that scene, that was live action. That wasn't CGI.
Yeah.
When they had the one-on-one, that's acting. That's not CGI.
Mm-hmm.
They just copy and pasted him when they did those widescreen shots where you see the entirety of the battle.
I can get the understand, like they want to have this. I wish they showcased it enough so that you could see like mannerisms, or he had more accentuated mannerisms, so they can like you can easily see it's the same person.
So,
that would make
that
more useful.
I will say this right now. That's why I love live action. The Clone Wars, because you can do that with them. You can have their Bad Batch. If you go and watch that, they have their own mannerisms. It's actually pretty good, pretty cool. I do miss that.
Agree.
That's one thing that Clone Wars did well. Clone Wars did really well with that because it was a cartoon. With the CGI, it's really hard. The only time that Tamora Morrison, you could tell when Tamora Morrison was in that suit, because he was in that suit. The scene with. Well, he was in it on Camino. The Camino fight, when he was flying was CGI, but when he was running from him, or when they were fighting, that was not CGI.
No, that was all live action.
So, I'm just pointing that out. But when he was in the air flying, then it was CGI.
Yeah, no, it's like I think there's certain like times where they chose CGI instead of maybe a more time-consuming method of actually building a set or something.
Yeah,
it looks you can tell it's that old CGI. It looks too clean.
They did do it live action, and then figured it'd be better CGI.
It just looks too clean.
I hear
and
you.
Therefore too fake. But whatever. It's the biggest problem with this movie.
Oh, and I agree with you. And I said it at the beginning. The CGI was a little bit much. But the story behind it, I can get behind, and they tried. I that's all I can say. But Heather's back. Wendy is being a shit.
I think it's because we let her take a nap.
Oh, she only slept for an hour though.
Yeah, so.
Well, anyway. Heather's back. Sorry. Go ahead. You're done giving your thoughts about the scene where we left off. They're at the factory.
Mm-hmm.
You're good?
And loses his lightsaber again.
So they get caught. They join Obi-Wan in an arena-like complex where Padme professes her love to Anakin. And Anakin does say, I thought we agreed to not move forward with this because of this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. The rules.
Padme's the Antichrist.
But Padme said, well, they thought they were going to die.
Yeah.
How are they going to get out of this one? You know, that's what they're building to. Will they get out of it? Well, now I'm committed.
Now you're
actually I get to see other girls in the galaxy.
So she's like, fuck, man, now I'm committed to this fucking creep. But anyway, they join Obi-Wan in the arena. During their struggle, Mace Windu arrives with the Jedi and the Battle of the Droid Army. They kind of jump over this thing.
They do.
So this scene was CGI. Some of it. Like the far away distance scenes, that was CGI. I didn't like that so much because you could tell it was CGI.
Yeah,
I
that
can
you
tell
can tell.
everything almost.
Yeah, you can, but that scene could have been live action, and I think it would have been better. But they had to do, like the robots were CGI. You could tell that they were sheened, but they looked dim, and it was a bright sunny day out, so it would reflect off.
For me, most of the robots I don't mind because fuck it, they're all weird shapes and shit. It can be hard to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that scene, the lightsaber fight, not as good as the first one, the Duel of the Fates.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the name of that song, the Duel of the Fates, only because if you think about it, the Duel of the Fates, that's what happened. The fate being Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they do a really good job of telling that story in Rebels. If you're going to go check it out, that's like one of the best episodes they ever
it is.
Star Wars fucking hit it right on the fucking... Dave Filoni is a fucking genius. That's all I'm gonna...
Star Wars is very big on it. It's made by the side characters.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be, but that...
It's carried by their main characters, but it's made by the side characters.
I think that's where the new movies failed.
They did, and we'll talk about that. But
when we get to those, we will talk about those. Yes.
So just calm your shit. So anyway,
I will not.
What about your guys' thoughts on that scene in the?
I'd like this action piece more than the last one, which was like the factory one.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is a bit more engaged, and this is the thing with Padme. With Padme, fuck you. This is like halfway through this movie, I'm like, I like this character more. She's actually doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the other time, she's just fucking stone faced, saying nothing. Now she's actually having some action scenes, and she's actually like putting something forward. Because the whole fucking first half of this franchise, they're like, we must protect her. We must protect her. I'm like, why, man? Let her die. Like, can't stand her. But anyways, yeah, she turned over a new leaf, and that was pretty good. The one thing that made me laugh so much is after this, I don't even know if we're there yet, but when like everything goes to shit and the Jedi show up and they all do like this fucking like pose with their lightsabers, it was so bad.
So you get to see some of the lore. We're gonna speak lore because that's what this scene was. This was a callback to a bunch of things that Star Wars fans wanted to see, and that's what they did fan service for this scene. Yeah,
this was a fan service scene. I agree.
But it was so fucking like hit that action pose. And it was like back to back to back to back, and they were all just posing. I'm like,
they're trying to make posters.
I was just gonna say they needed a picture of the poster.
That's what they did.
Sell the toys. Gotta sell the toys.
Yep.
That too.
I do like the one scene before the whole shindig kicks off. Anakin, the interaction between Anakin and Obi-Wan is pretty funny, personally, because he sits there and Anakin looks at, or he looks. Who says something first? Isn't it Anakin? He looks at fucking Obi-Wan and he goes, I sent a message. And he goes, we're
here to save you. How's that going? Or something.
That was great. And look at how that's going. And then the next one, he's sitting there and he's like trying to teachable moment, motherfucker. You got this big fucking rhino coming at you. Teachable moment. Breathe. use the Force. Think. These are things that Obi-Wan is saying to him. And he goes, what about Padme? He looks over and he goes, she seems to be doing fine. She's up on the fucking pillar. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
The scene's fun.
It is.
It's a pretty good scene overall.
That was
then you
fucking
have
great.
Obi-Wan with the spear at the tail end throws it at this giant praying mantis type bug monster. And he's like, I think I just pissed this thing off.
He did. He throws it and it fucking goes ape shit. And he's like, oh, fuck me. And he takes off. I enjoyed it.
I loved it because, like, the Mandalorian was like, why did I just do that?
Well, it was a good... It was... I mean, it's the folly of being in the...
It's his arrogance showing through.
Well, it's a folly.
Yeah.
They were doing a folly. That was a folly scene. You could tell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he had that oh shit moment. That didn't fucking work. Because he didn't have a lightsaber, remember? So they had to fight with something. So he used what he could.
A spear.
And Obi-Wan doesn't have that power that Anakin does where he can tell a fucking animal what to do. He takes control of that animal. And then and then they all get surrounded, right?
By droidekas.
Fucking Newt Gunray's up in the fucking suite going, kill her! Get her! Kill her! Like, he wants her fucking dead.
This scene gave off Gladiator vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the inspiration they pulled from it.
It was... I enjoyed it. Good scene.
Yeah.
And then Yoda shows up, and the beginning of the Clone Wars happens.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing. Mace Windu having a purple lightsaber, just like, fuck is all. I'm Mace Windu. I have a purple lightsaber.
That was fan service.
Yes, it was.
And it's also lore.
It was fucking awesome.
It's also lore. So the reason that Mace Windu has purple lightsaber, it is explained because he has both light and dark side forces. He uses the seventh form of Jedi, and I can't remember.
I can't remember the fucking name of it either.
It's a fighting.
It's one of the fighting styles.
It's not. It's
Isn't he like
Jinsu? I think Jinsu. I think is what it's called. So he's
supposed to be like one of the most strongest fighters that are Jedi, right?
Yes, he's the second most powerful Jedi. He also has Shatterpoint, which is a book, a canon book, and it explains his force powers and stuff like that.
A book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mace Windu is a very beloved character. Everybody thought Mace
Windu.
There was a fan service where everybody thought that Mace Windu was Snoke.
Yeah, I remember hearing
Michael Jackson
about that too. Yeah.
Did Michael Jackson him?
But that was the introduction of him. Now you get Count Dooku. Now Count Dooku comes into this thing, right?
I love Count Dooku.
I loved the lightsaber fight between Count Dooku and Anakin and Luke. Obi-Wan is pretty good. It's not as good as the first one. But then the Clone Wars start, and now you're seeing the fan service that I'm talking about. You have Kit Fisto. Mm-hmm. You get I almost said Lufisto, but Kit Fisto. You get Master Plo Koon is there. Sabula, I think is her name. They did really good fan service. Twi'lek.
Yes,
they have Twi'lek as Jedi. Yeah. You're now introduced to Jedi Masters, which is where, and I'm telling you, the side characters do make it because they became beloved characters, even though they had small parts. Mm-hmm. I find that the smaller parts that people are in, like the smaller up parts, like as little as Boba Fett was in episode 5 and 6.
Look at what he spawned.
You know what it is? It's a credit to the world they built.
Yes,
because the world is so vast and so interesting that even like the smaller characters you want to know more about.
Yes,
and it's like the possibility of what they could have been and what they could be doing is insane.
Yep.
Harry Potter to an extent gets there, but it's not as close, it's not as good as this in terms of like the world, the interest in the world from like a mass scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they all get on and this is that scene. We're getting to that scene where you thought it was CGI. They're on their little. I can't think of what they're called. I forget the names of them. The characters.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the footprints are like super fake or something.
It looks super fake because it was high. But that scene, they come in, you get the introduction. Now you're seeing, now the Jedi are involved in the Clone Wars. They're full on in it. They all become generals, and which is why the Clone Wars was made. And it was also made for the reason of the movies being made. It was for Anakin, but they made it more Star Warsy, the Clone Wars. So we get to that point. Now we're to the point where Anakin or Amidala gets shot out. Their ship gets hit, and she falls out, and so does It's her and
a few of the clones.
No, it was one of the clones. One of the clones got knocked out. So he goes over, and Anakin at this point is like, put the ship down. We got to save her. Again, he's conflicted. He's now, he's being manipulated by Padme. She's an evil bitch. But anyway, I'm kidding.
The truth. Another Sith Lord has arrived.
You'd be just as manipulated if I had that same black dress.
You damn right.
You know what? She's a fucking bitch. Like, I can fuck everyone's life up, and I'm choosing death.
But right. But so we get to that pinnacle where he's now conflicted, and Obi-Wan has to say, what would Padme do in this situation? And I would go after Dooku. So they go after Dooku.
Did anybody else laugh a lot when they first saw Dooku on the fucking rascal in the sky?
Yes.
It's like I just pictured him speeding through Walmart.
So I like this scene. This is a good lightsaber scene. I got to see another fan service in this, and the fan service is a dual lightsaber. Anakin can use dual lightsabers.
Yeah. He isn't very well trained in it yet.
They kept the actual lore of Anakin Skywalker. They didn't change anything because although he doesn't fight with two lightsabers, he can fight with any lightsaber. He can fight with the one that Darth Maul used, because I think he fights with one in Clone Wars, and he can do dual lightsabers like Ahsoka can.
Yes.
Which is why Ahsoka becomes his apprentice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he can pod race at 5 years old.
At 5 years old, so can
the perfect package.
She is as powerful as he is supposed to be, because she can do all of the things that he can do, which is why she's essential to the character. We'll get into it, because she comes in right like year one into the Clone Wars. She comes in right after, which is why they made that movie, and then they're like, "Fuck this, let's make fucking a TV series out of it," which is what they did.
I do like how they made Dooku feel very strong. He takes on fucking Obi-Wan. He fucking cuts Anakin's arm off, and he goes toe to toe with Yoda. And the Yoda scene when Yoda shows up, I remember watching this in theater, and the theater like erupted.
Yeah.
Yoda fucking.
Well, there is a reason for that though, because everybody was all he. You know why they got a pop? It got a pop because nobody he walks in with a fucking goddamn piece of wood crutch,
and then he's like,
and then all of a sudden, when he takes off that fucking cape.
He doesn't take it off. He just opens it and then uses the force to pull his lightsaber out.
He opens it.
Yeah,
uses
but
the force to pull
he does that whole thing, and he goes. My favorite part is they tried doing the force fight first.
Force lightning.
Force fight.
Yeah, no.
And then they realized Dooku realized he isn't as powerful as Yoda is. He goes, we aren't going to be able to settle this by our knowledge of the Force. I'm pretty sure Yoda would have taken that ball and shoved it right back up your ass. He just didn't do it.
Which
He
is
wanted-
why he said, much you still have to learn.
So Yoda,
Honestly,
right? So Yoda, then Pops goes, we can only settle this with the lightsaber duel, which is a great. It's an homage. It's a fan service.
Mm-hmm.
So he kicks off the. I think he kicks off the tape.
Man, they had like this Mortal Kombat standoff.
They did.
Because they both like stopped, and then he did this fucking like sword flick.
But
And
then
Yoda just
and then
force
Yoda,
levitates his
and what
lightsaber into his hand.
What got
So
everybody to pop is when Yoda started bouncing all over the fucking place.
Yeah, I was waiting for
Bouncing around like a spider monkey.
as soon as he takes off his fucking robe, it goes black and white. Yoda is all elite. That motherfucker flips 1
It's
trillion
this
times in the next 2 seconds.
Scream. It's the fucking war cry he does when he jumps, because it's not just like him, like, you know, like, it's,
I when he does that, now that's all CGI.
Yes.
really?
And you got to remember something else too. At the time of this movie,
It was a green
Christopher Lee was 78 years old.
Yep.
Christopher Lee, when he fights Anakin Skywalker, when it looks like they're just standing there fighting. I don't know what you're laughing at right now.
Sorry, I'll tell you. Go ahead. Sorry.
The part where him and Anakin are fighting when he's fighting with the double lightsabers. They're going so fast, per the story,
Yeah.
that they are able to see each other doing things. But Anakin
Yeah.
makes one false move, but he learns a lot. You'll know, and that comes in the next movie. We'll hit on Clone Wars, like the big things. I hit on a few of them tonight, but
Yeah.
but
And Christopher Lee is actually trained in fencing, if I'm correct, too.
Yeah, it kind of
Shaper
uses
fencing.
that the stance, that fucking sword flick. I think is the thing of that.
Yeah, that's a fencing salute to your opponent or something along those lines.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
so. But I like that scene.
Did you like when I was seeing Yoda and him fight? Right, I'm like, man, Yoda would be a fucking unstoppable opponent just because he's 1 foot tall
Yeah.
and fast
Yeah.
as shit.
Exactly.
Ankle
With a
fighter.
laser sword, that's fucking wild.
It's crazy.
Between that and the fact that one of the most remembered lines in any of these movies is "I have the high ground." This motherfucker can chop your fucking ankles off even if you do have the high ground.
Yep.
Yoda knows what you're gonna do before you do it, except for
Yeah.
Palpatine.
And
Or
the other
Sidious.
part of this scene I liked was Dooku, at the end of it, realizing he can't beat Yoda, forces Yoda into an impossible decision.
Well,
Do I go
what,
after
you know what?
him,
You know what
or
Yoda's
do I
going to
take
He's
do.
the bad guy.
But-
The bad guy option. Renegade.
You know, but again, you know why he's going to make the decision he does.
Yes, no, we know why. I'm saying Dooku, though, forces him to make the decision.
I
Save them or
character.
kill me.
Yeah.
I like his character because he's not fucking completely just outright evil. He's similar to his master and like playing both sides, but just to a lesser extent.
Mhm.
Clone Wars does a really good job of watching that play out too. Yeah,
They flesh out his character much better in Clone Wars, too.
they do.
You don't get much character off of Dooku in Attack of the Clones.
I
His
mean,
character's built in Clone Wars.
you do, because the one thing about these movies is who is the apprentice to Sidious, and that was a big question going into these movies. Is
There was a
everybody
lot of
wanted
hype
to
around his
know
character before he showed up.
who the Sith Lords were going to be. You know, who we all know who Sidious was, but who did Sidious train
Yeah.
before Darth Vader?
How did
Which-
he have? I swear to God, man, Palpatine has like 72 hours in a day. How is he everywhere all at once?
Because again, that's how.
Because he's a
powerful-
clone?
No.
No.
He is eventually.
Eventually he does become one, yes. But
No.
at this instance, he is not.
No. He isn't a clone.
Snoke's.
Well, okay, yes.
If we take Disney as
It's
canon.
him. manipulating the fucking. That's if
manipulating everything behind the scenes.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Snow. He's just somebody. He was. It's hard to explain.
No, I know. It's just like they like there's. He's the senator and he's at this one place, but then he's also able to go. I don't know. Does he meet him off planet? Where does he meet him?
No, Dooku flies to Coruscant.
It's not Coruscant.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not Coruscant. It's not Coruscant.
I was
So
just
it's in
confused
the.
for
It's,
where
I
the
wouldn't
fuck they
say
were.
it's in the underworld of Coruscant, but it's.
It did kind of look like they showed.
No,
I don't know when they showed the globe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you. They explain a lot in Clone Wars. So if you've watched it, right?
I watched to a certain extent, which feels like a lot of it, but I don't know how much.
It's on the other side of Coruscant. That's all I can tell you if I remember right. It's in the underbelly of Coruscant.
Yeah, I think that's what probably just threw me off. Just the look of
it's Coruscant.
Look of it when they landed.
Yeah.
It's
Man,
Coruscant.
I actually kind of like Dooku's ship with the fucking.
That is
solar-
pretty cool. They do a pretty good job. CGI again.
No,
but-
but that's like I understand because I accept it.
No,
It's-
I'm just saying it's CGI, and I'm just pointing that out. I get that they have to do it, and it's not bad.
I
that
have
they
no
do
problem
it.
with the space scenes and the ships because in most part, I mean, in the original they used practical minis. You can use minis if you want, but for fuck's sakes, that would be super expensive and time consuming
Yes.
for all the space scenes they have.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with them doing the CGI for that. It's when you have real live actors
Yes,
and on a
100%
CGI
agree.
complete set that kills me.
I 100% agree with you. I'm not saying that. I'm just pointing out the CGI. This is why they kind of went overboard with the CGI, and I get what you're saying. But again, I'm just pointing out CGI. They're CGI heavy. They're actually really trying out the CGI at this point.
This is probably one
Yeah.
of the. This is like, I guess, what would you compare this to? Like Matrix or something? It's one of the like handful of movies that really went too far
Yes.
with CGI because it was like the new thing, and they realized they could basically make anything they wanted without having to put the work into
Which is
creating.
why Matrix
I mean,
is
it's-
99.9% fucking CGI.
CGI has worked too, but like
Yeah.
it's hard. I think it's harder to like act out a fucking scene when you have everything you look at is a green box and walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why the lightsaber fights are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of the lightsaber fights are
I
done
don't think that, and there might be a couple of times that they use CGI, but it's not when they were actually in conflict with each other. There might have been maybe one or two.
Most of the CGI is done for the setting
Uh-huh.
and any creatures that exist. Like earlier in the movie when Obi-Wan visits that fucking diner guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, it's like, man, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that they actually showed that is actually a guy, and then they did that practical, but then they did a lot of things practical just to see what they look like. And
I
then
think
they're
they
like,
got to a
CGI.
point where they use it as like a base for when they
Yeah.
do CGI. It's like, this is what we want it to look like, go with that. And they'll use it for lighting in the room and things like that.
Yeah.
But the fucking, I think they got to a point where it's like, we have to at least have 50% of this movie CGI.
Yeah.
Do we just say fuck it and do 75% of it CGI instead of the extra 25% practical? Because it might look weird mixing some CGI with practical back when this movie was made.
It would have
Where
looked very
things were-
choppy.
Yeah, well, it would take you further out of the immersion, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they end up. Doku gets away, and he meets Palpatine on the planet of Coruscant, and I think it's on the other side of the planet, away from the Jedi, where they can't sense shit, right?
Mhm.
So, because again, Sidious is that powerful. But
And he delivers to Duke delivers to Palpatine the plans of Death Star.
He's blocking the Jedi from reading his mind or sensing him. Essentially, they know he's there, because they just can't sense where he's at, even though he's right under their fucking nose.
Plus, he's setting off all these little tiny diversions all over the place, keeping them distracted that they can't really focus on what's under their nose.
He is creating this war.
He's the media.
Yeah.
He is creating this war as a distraction.
One thing I really like what they did with him is, like, we do get the 10-year skip, but he ages drastically, and it's because of the influence of the dark side, from my understanding, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'll see his true form. His true form is
a ball sack.
What he is. Yes.
Yes.
His true form, because he's been so manipulated by the dark side. Again, I hate to say that. Go watch a video of why the Sith do. They explain a lot. Like, again, Evan Nova and Jinsari. Go. They get deep, but it's what it should be, as far as why Palpatine,
it's the full
why
realization of the actual story.
Yes.
And characters.
They do a really good job of explaining why things happen.
That's the stuff I really like in movies and TV shows, when they're able to go that the lore shows itself on the screen. That's why these movies frustrate me sometimes. Because I know there's so much under the hood, but we never get to see it.
Agreed. But they wanted to get to the story, which is, I think,
they want it to be easily accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
I think 4, 5, and 6. They did a pretty good job of that, but 1, 2, 3, they didn't do a good job.
I can feel that, yeah.
Connor, are you still alive over there?
Yes, I've heard him a couple of times.
He's dead.
But what?
Exactly, yeah.
So we're to the end of the movie, Connor?
Okay.
No.
His responses.
No, what I'm saying is we're to the end of the movie.
I was just letting everybody else talk. I was just letting everybody else go.
No, I want to hear what you thought. What did you think of the Yoda fighting Dooku?
Oh man, I also watched this in the theaters too. And you're right, everybody else fucking popped. It's one of the few like rare like movie going experiences that I'll cherish with me for the rest of my life. And again, that scream, and then just fucking going balls to the wall. And I don't know about you, but I also was like thinking like, man, he would make a great Mortal Kombat enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no one. Yeah, as I was on the same boat with you on that one, Basement. The fight was cool because it also emphasized like the strength, the importance, the gravitas that is Yoda, as he will be one of, if not the only main like mentor figures after all this shit is said and done in the next movie. So it's a nice little like planting of just a reminder of like, oh yeah, no, Yoda's a badass too. So yeah, I love the fight personally.
Yoda's a really cool character. This fight though, and the way that it works out, I don't know if it was just me, but I'm like, man, this seems like a fucking anime. Because like that. Oh
shit! I did. You know, it's funny. I did write down. I got DBZ vibes at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, we're gonna fight in this style first, then we're gonna switch to something more personal.
And I don't know why, but it was very strange that Dooku said like, it seems he fucking like dialogue announced what they were going to do to each other. Like, I'm surprised Yoda would be like, here you are, Khan. I'm right here.
All right, so we're up to the point. So I'm just going to
regrow an arm, Yoda?
I'm just going to run over this real quick. The Battle of Geonosis. The large battle erupts. Republic clone forces and the Separatist army droid army. Count Dooku attempts to escape, but Obi-Wan and Anakin track him down in the secret hangar where they engage him in combat. Dooku quickly injures Obi-Wan and cuts off Anakin's right arm. But you do get to see the fan service with the double lightsabers.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. Yoda arrives and engages Dooku in the lightsaber combat. And fucking would have won a fucking gold medal in the Olympics if it wasn't an event. Dooku, realizing he may be outmatched, causes a support pylon to nearly fall on Anakin and Obi-Wan. Yoda uses the Force to stop, allowing Dooku to get away with the plans for a secret new weapon. The Death Star.
Yep.
In a desolate industrial
Port
district
pylon.
on Coruscant, he meets with his master, Darth Sidious, who is pleased that the war has begun as planned. Dooku is revealed to be the apprentice Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus. On Coruscant, Obi-Wan informs the Jedi Council on Dooku's warning that Darth Sidious is controlling the Senate. Now, this is where I will like, why are you giving us it away? So, I had to rethink this. All of them, including Yoda, are surprisingly hesitant to believe this, stating that the dark side is capable of creating fear and mistrust. Yoda and Windu also agree that the dark side is now clouding everything, and that they should closely monitor the Senate.
Looks like he's stroking his dick.
Meanwhile, Palpatine.
What?
Not my leg itches. I'm sorry.
JP.
That's what happens when I read. I get fidgety. You guys are fucking sick.
I fucking love Star Wars.
Meanwhile, Palpatine oversees the launching of a massive clone trooper force. The great and terrible Clone Wars have begun. In the final scene...
And you think that there are Star Destroyers?
I'm gonna fucking punch you. Hold on.
I'm gonna Star Destroyer you.
In the final scene set on Naboo, Anakin with a mechanical hand and Padme have a secret wedding to which only the droids C-3PO and R2-D2 are witnesses to.
Why didn't they give him a better hand?
Jesus fucking Christ. They gave him a CGI hand. Deal
No,
with it.
like
Give him a full-on robot.
look at the
hand.
technology in that world, and they gave him a
Because it's
fucking
Anakin
skeleton hand.
Skywalker, master
let's
builder.
Jason.
Hold on.
Does it have to
Hold
grow?
on. So now, okay, so I get what you're saying, but I like the way that it looks.
I think they wanted to just highlight the fact that it was a robot hand,
Yeah.
Yes,
and you
that's-
couldn't do that if his hand looked normal.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hold on. I'm gonna try and see if I can find what that reminded me of. It reminded me of the toy robot hand, the gray
It
one.
was Terminator, the Terminator hand from Terminator 2.
So
Vader.
It's the exact same hand.
I now we're in the shit, to say the least.
Secret marriage. Never
Anakin
good
is
for anybody.
secretly breaking a vow to the Jedi Order. Padme is allowing this because she's so in
The
love.
worst.
I really feel bad for Anakin, but fuck that guy.
No,
Mhm.
he's his own enemy. I think it's not the hyperdrive. Fuck him.
I hate to
Anakin?
say it, third person dits everywhere.
There was a PlayStation game, I think, for this for episode 1, and fucking when you met Anakin, the entire time he's like, I think I thought the hyperdrive. I think I thought the hyperdrive. I just fucking killed that motherfucker.
I enjoyed this movie better than I enjoyed all of them, but I enjoyed this one a little more than the first one. We're gonna rank all of these movies at the end on our we'll do an episode where we rank each movie and where they're at. There's been a lot of debate over what, you know what I mean? The 9 movies that we watch, we're gonna rank them.
Work 'em.
We're
We're gonna
great.
rank 'em good.
We should put a thing out on the community and let people vote.
Mhm.
I don't know
Why
if
don't we
can
do
have-
after we finish each arc? What was the best movie of the 3?
Yeah.
Or
I'm
something.
Yeah, that
fine
worked.
with that. I'm
Yeah,
fine
I'm
with
good for that.
And then I would like to put something out on Twitter to everybody and have them actually watch the movie, all of them, because you can do it in 2 days. I've done it. If you have the time, I'm not telling you have to watch
Sleep
it.
was over now.
What a 2 days, huh?
But I'm just, you could then we could at the end of this,
This is why he's
our
best.
last roundtable will be us ranking the movies.
Mhm. Sleep was overrated.
Yep.
I don't
Agreed.
give a fuck. 3 is not overrated.
Sleep.
No, sleep is overrated.
Okay, well, you'll be all right.
I don't care.
I know you don't care. You've seen them all already, so you probably could rank them right now. I'm not going to do
I
that.
hate this
Yes,
conversation.
I could.
But I'm just going to say
I said I could. I'd say I will right now.
I enjoyed this movie. It's better than the first one. I'll give my rating at the end. I'm going to let you guys talk. Go ahead. Somebody go ahead.
This movie, while the story was better, somehow some of it was worse.
I don't know what you mean by that, but okay.
It got better and worse at the same time.
It did, but at the end of the day, this movie did what people wanted it to do. It continued on the story and got you more in depth with the story without making it so confusing that you're not going to be able to follow it for the third one, which you now know is coming.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's good.
Okay.
I'm going to give this one half a point less than I gave the first one. Because of the jumbled mess some of the scenes are.
I don't give a fuck about the scenes. I don't understand.
That's what makes up a movie.
So when you say jumbled scenes, what scenes were jumbled? I don't understand. Like, give me an explanation.
Who gives a fuck about the scenes? Who fuck them?
Oh god, that was great.
I'm literally, so give me an example.
I'm talking about like in the beginning when you get the awkwardness of Anakin, but at the same time it doesn't flow right.
Yeah, there's something wrong with those interactions.
You can't really fucking name it right off the bat.
No, I know what Heather's talking about. It's a weird feeling of like just the way that the natural flow of the scenes go from one into another. Just it's not
cohesive.
This is what I was saying when I said that they were like
fluid.
Each individual scene with those two characters seems like it just skips all of the things that made it to where it is.
Dinner, ass pounding, pop flowers. It's like it's backwards.
Don't look at me, Annie. I see. I'm totally in love with you, Annie. It's okay.
What made you blossom?
Oh, that's when she realized it wasn't going to be pedophilia anymore, so she could.
I think they're like those scenes are kind of like jarring for me in the movie.
Little Annie.
Part of it is the faces he makes. He doesn't make that puppy dog in love face. He makes.
I think that was the direction.
I will stalk you until you change your mind face.
I think the direction was like look at her seductively, and he's like, I'm going to eat the marrow first.
I'm gonna what?
Eat the marrow first. Ew, look creepy as shit, man.
So because of that, I'm dropping this down to a 6 instead of a 6.5.
Oh my god. Okay. Tim?
Again, like The Phantom Menace, people at the time when this movie came out were drawing comparisons. We're constantly comparing it to The Empire Strikes Back.
It wasn't even fucking close to The Empire Strikes Back.
No, but there are scenes in it that are callbacks to The Empire Strikes Back.
The bad guy can't lose all the time. He has to win at some point.
Well, inevitably, there's going to be comparisons in all three arcs to all three movies to all three movies.
And that's part of the problem I have with people, with fans, is they all want them to be on the same level as their counterpart in the other arc.
Yeah, they're stupid, silly ass Star Wars fans go by a formula.
Yeah.
The good guys win, the bad guys win, the good guys
movie.
win. That's the way they did. That's the way they did episode 4, 5, and 6. The good guy wins, the bad guy wins, the good guy wins.
Yeah,
episode 7, 8, and 9 followed that exact mantra. Episode 1, it was the good guys win, the bad guys win, the bad guys win. Actually, the bad guys win all three.
Yeah.
The Empire,
In the end,
the
yeah.
Republic, the Jedi don't fucking win at all in this.
No, they get
Not in this
obliterated.
series.
None of this.
It's time to feel like a Sith, bitch.
66.
Well, but that again, it all goes back to that's how powerful Darth Sidious
The
is.
Sith Lords are.
Yeah, well,
Now-
just this one in particular.
Yes.
Bezos?
Oh, man.
Darth
No, Elon Musk.
Darth Sidious.
Darth Musk.
Yes.
So, with
Darth
that being
Musk
said, the
would be the
music,
worst
as
fucking-
always, is there. I cannot stress that enough. The music is there. It's always been there. Hearing it live is actually something I recommend everyone does. Hearing the Star Wars score live. That's just me. I'm a Star Wars nerd, not for you, but
Just we already know. Just
yes. I could go on for lore for 4.5 hours and we still wouldn't even be done.
well, we're going to be. Hurry the fuck
Yes.
Never
Overall,
stop.
I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I liked the casting was there. It felt a little wooden at times where the actors were just reading their lines off of a
up. Of
script.
course.
I blame that more on the script than I do on the actors, so.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
And lightsaber fights are always fun to watch.
They are. That's basically what Star Wars is all about.
Exactly. Okay,
Connor?
I'm kind of in the same boat. Where like I mentioned it for Phantom Menace. I think I gave that one like a 7 out of 10. Still enjoyed it, even though I'm and again just nitpicking. Attack of the Clones is kind of the same way. Like I said, I had nostalgic remembrance that I fucking hate this movie with a passion. I don't. There's just one particular part I really don't like, and
Which part?
it's fucking Anakin. I just don't like Anakin, and I know that's by design, but like
By proxy, yes.
fucking whiny bitch. Like, oh my god, and fucking creepo. Anyway, still didn't like to me there weren't enough positive to negative ratios like Phantom Menace was for me personally. Like there was some cool moments here and there, but not enough that was like whoa, like there was with like the pod racing and
I'm gonna like him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
in the lightsaber fight from the first one. So I'm gonna stick with like a 6 out of 10 on that one. Again, don't hate it, but not really just like wowed behind it.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead,
wow.
Basement. Go ahead.
How old is Anakin supposed to be in this movie?
19.
19.
So he was 9 in the
Yeah.
first episode?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Was that kid was that actor 9?
Yes, he was.
Eric Lloyd? Yeah.
I thought he was just like fucking 6
He
years
was
old.
also in Jingle All the Way. He was the little boy in Jingle All the Way.
That's
fucking Yep.
great.
Oh yeah.
Wow, what a fucking jump.
Oh, look at him now in jail.
Yeah. He's
As far as the movie goes, I mean, I'm gonna say the same thing as most people. But the one thing I'll say is the music has always been great, but this movie for me just flowed better. There wasn't these dips I had, and I think it's just because I've seen maybe Phantom Menace too much.
yes.
This one,
Very possible.
and this one I think I'm with Connor when I said I don't remember liking it. I actually remember disliking it and thinking it was terrible. It's not
Yeah.
terrible. The worst scenes are Padme and fucking
Good.
Anakin
I
because
don't
Jesus
disagree
Christ.
with that.
And I agree with Tim where it's the script. It's not the actors. And
Oh yeah.
This whole trilogy has these weird I feel like they're telling the actors after the 18th take, say it like I wrote it. It's like, okay, I'll say it terribly. Yeah, that's the take. George Lucas fucking rubbing his ball sack in the background. That's the one. Oh yeah.
I don't like sand.
Who was Attack of the Clones written by? Hold on
Rubbing
a
his
second.
ball
I'm
sack.
gonna tell you.
No, George Lucas had his input. on all these movies.
No, right. I know.
And I think he was like that overbearing person on set, where it's like, it's my creation. You'll do it the way I want it.
My creation, cat.
Yeah. Or you'll rub my balls for me.
Remember my boss, cat?
George Lucas wrote the script.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and that's probably why it's done this way.
Mad script,
Like, say it
bitches.
exactly like I wrote it. But you said, "I love you, Padme." Say it like I wrote it.
This really
Space
felt
goes all
like the
creepy.
first time Lucas
I love
tried
you,
to
Padme.
write. Right?
So that was
This
the
felt like the
Phantom.
first time that George Lucas really tried to write a romance movie.
So
Almost.
episode 2 was written by George Lucas and Jonathan Hales.
Yes.
George Lucas is
See,
not a good writer.
I
His
read- I read-
ideas
I-
are good. His
I read
writing is
these
bad.
guys.
So
What are you
George
talking
Lucas can tell you
Okay.
the story.
Yeah, see?
He is a terrible. He's not a very good scriptwriter, but
What the
he's
fuck, man?
he's a much better director. He's a much better producer.
Yep, thank you.
He is. I do executive producer. He's a much better executive producer too.
Man, he's one of those guys that I'm like, that's an idea, man.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
But don't let him do anything else.
What the fuck, guys? This is so stupid.
Which is why, I mean, he's there, but he's not writing scripts and shit. He actually has Dave Filoni does that shit now.
Hey, Dave's got it. No problem.
Now, like, I mean, you have to have different people writing. It didn't really help the fucking newest ones.
But
Anyways,
all the big stuff, Dave Filoni, he writes it.
I think Favreau's in on it too.
Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy is just an executive producer by name.
Killer. Burn him with fire.
But
No.
I will liken this. Right now, think about this in wrestling terms. You're about to see the biggest heel turn in the history of heel turns.
It's pretty good.
Right now, if you, I enjoy the story. I can understand the acting was a little bad. The CGI was a little much. The story was there. For me. Now, the acting, terrible. But the story behind what they were giving us is
I
there.
don't think the acting was terrible.
No.
Honestly, I think it's just like there's this disconnect between what they want to show versus what we end up getting.
Agreed.
And I know it's the script, and I know there's someone back there who can say it the right way, but as far as the movie goes, I don't think I gave a rating.
I'm gonna give
No,
this.
I don't think you did.
I'm gonna give this a 7, 7.25. Just I enjoyed the movie, and each one was better for me. Up until 7, 8, 9, but we're getting there.
I'm with you on that. Like, I gave the first one a 6.5, I think.
Yes, you did.
That would make me give this one. I think I'd give this one a 7 or close to it. It just was more entertaining to watch.
It was.
And I think it's just was paced
totally-
better.
Yeah.
Now we're at the pinnacle of seeing. This is how Triple H should tell fucking stories in WWE.
But it's also like they tell the story, like, though it's cringy as fuck with Padme and fucking
yes, it's telling.
Anakin.
It's telling. the
It's
story.
it gets the story across that it wants to.
Yes.
You know, like it's almost like it's like I get this Nicolas Cage vibe from that whole
Yeah.
fucking arc with them.
Now imagine if Nicolas Cage was playing Sidious.
Oh,
I
man, if he
would
was
fucking be
I wish he was
so
playing
happy.
every character.
So fucking happy.
I wish he was playing
You're gonna
every
go ahead and
character.
blow up the Death Star. Oh.
So
Hallelujah.
anybody else? I'll do any. I'll do the same thing that I did tonight. Next week, I'll do any final thoughts on episode 2 before we move into episode 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But I enjoyed the movie. I hope you all did too. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. pay attention to the story. Yes, pay attention to the movie. Try to pay attention to the story they're trying to tell.
Did you find it like with the characters? Did you find it like everybody was playing like deadpan? I wrote down halfway through the movie, it's Ambien the movie.
Yeah.
Because even the characters that are supposed to have.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but
It's like halfway through, I'm like, oh my god, everyone is like, there's low energy, and then there's Star Wars Episode 2.
And then it's like,
oh man,
It's suffering from low T.
I can't go ahead and allow you to do this.
And you know why I think
Like, that's-
part of the issue is because you didn't have that Jar Jar Binks infusion. I'm saying it's all the better for not having it, but he was the hype man, and they were like, "We're taking that away from you, taking everything away from you."
So I'm gonna tell you this, Aaron.
It was the great Jar Jar adventure.
Aaron just said with how many Star Wars movies there are, that'll be hard as fuck. Did you watch all 10 of the Fast and the Furious movies?
He did.
Same thing.
Amazing.
Spoilers for the next roundtable.
I'm going to
Did
tell
you
you,
watch
Star
all
Wars
one of the
is
Fast and
10
Furious
times
movies?
better than Fast and the Furious.
I don't know. No, I know.
10 times better than Fast and the Furious. The story is way better.
Oh, clearly.
Way better.
Yeah, it's all about family, though.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
Same
Star
thing
Wars
here.
is a family movie.
It is,
Star
kind of.
Star
A
Wars
family
is all
destroying
about
itself.
family. God damn it. They're one big happy family.
The fucked up family. It's like a.
I'm not talking.
living in
You
trailers
have
family.
to rank them. Never mind. Well, you'll be fine. Just vote. So
Vote
with
for
that
me.
said, we'll be back next week for episode 3, and that will be the 21st of October. Getting close to Halloween. I know Saturday is the 28th. You're probably going to want to do something for that night, right? We can take
I
a
guess.
break. We can do episode 3 and then take a little break.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. I think we should take a week break between the
The series.
trilogies. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So the way this is going to work, we're going to do episode 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip a week. And then we'll get
4, 5, and
Rogue
6.
One.
Oh, Rogue One, yes.
Yep.
And then we'll do 4, 5, and 6.
What about Solo?
Might take another little week break or whatever, depending.
Do Solo.
And then do 7, 8. No, I ain't doing Solo.
Why, man?
No.
I actually didn't mind
No
Solo.
lightsabers.
We can talk about it as a
I didn't
separate
mind Solo.
entity.
I
if
hate
you
it.
want.
I hate the fact that they retconned
I didn't
the
hate it.
entire
I didn't
story
hate.
there.
I didn't hate it either. I actually
We have to do
enjoyed
it, man. It's part of the fucking.
We can do it after, because I don't know where
Okay.
it falls. I don't know where it falls in the canon. It doesn't specifically say.
It falls right alongside Rogue One.
Does it though?
Yeah. Yeah, because she's a child in it.
Yeah, but look at how much he's much older than both Leia and Luke.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't happen right alongside Rogue One.
No, but it
Wait,
happened somewhere in that area, though.
No,
I'd say.
it does not.
It
We
happens
already
before
passed it.
episode 1?
Way before.
It happened
episode
before
one.
episode 4.
I mean, episode 4, sorry.
I know when Rogue One happened. Solo did not happen right alongside Rogue One.
No, but it did happen before episode 4.
And grand scheme of things, that's where it belongs. in
Yes,
the
it
hierarchy.
happened before episode 1.
So that's what we're watching, right?
I
Right
didn't
after
really know.
Rogue. Right after
No.
Rogue
Rogue
One.
happened before
Why
episode
would I
4.
watch it
Break
right
my
after
face
Rogue
off.
One?
Cutting our losses.
I don't understand you guys.
Neither do I.
What?
The bees.
We already passed the time to watch Solo. That's my point. Can't watch
But
it
I
in
can watch
between.
it. But
How
I
did
can
we
watch it by
pass the
myself.
time?
I can watch it by myself. That's why that's called solo.
I hate you the most.
We'll
How's
figure it out.
Anyway,
We'll figure it
episode
out.
3 next week.
Next episode.
I'm
3
watching.
next
I'm
week.
watching Solo for
Join
next
us
week.
tomorrow. Whatever. Join us.
Oh,
Join
my
us.
dude.
Join us tomorrow night for No Bucks Given. I don't know what to talk about. but we'll talk about something. We'll talk about WWE for sure.
Bitchin'.
Other than that, I hope everybody has a great night. I hope you enjoy this. I'm trying to tell the lore the best I can.
I'm trying to confuse everyone, as I normally do.
Shut the fuck up.
Wait, I have a question about Jar Jar again.
Go ahead.
I got nothing. I'm fucking high as fuck.
I know you
Continue.
are. All right. So join us tomorrow night for No Bucks Given, and then throughout the week, I'm sure we'll have something going on. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe and be well.
May the force be with you.
Join the dark side.
He's a Jar Jar Binks.
He's gonna be the catalyst of the downfall of the Republic.
I mean, I would love if they turned him into